Listen, listen, listen. Welcome to Monday Night Toy Ramblings, where I will ramble on for maybe 3+ hours because I don't know how much news there is to talk about. Although I always say that, and we always seem to have a good amount to talk about, and never really seem to have an issue going 3 hours, to the point where some people want me to not go as long. But it seems like many of you guys still show up and stay, so I give you people what you actually want. So anyway, thank you guys all for joining me. Thank you for giving me a little bit of your time on Monday night. I think there's some wrestling show going on because there was some big wrestling event over the weekend. I don't know. I hear there's a big wrestling event. All I know is that it's no WrestleMania 3. All right. There's no Hulk Hogan picking up that big, mean, ugly giant and slamming him and making all of Pontiac, Michigan shake. There's nothing like that today. There's a bunch of guys that get pushed down your throat that aren't larger than life. We'll just say that. But anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed it. So I have a feeling people may be watching that Monday Night Raw. There's a few other things going on right now, so people will filter in. But anyway, hope everyone had a happy Easter. Can I say something non-religious or political, but it may come off that way? I just want to say that the Pope technically dying, I think they announced it today. He missed his chance to die on Friday and then come walking out of the Vatican yesterday on Sunday, because that would have been amazing. I'll just say it. So anyway, and if I offended you, I'm sorry, but maybe you need to be offended. Anyway, I hope everyone else I hope you had a wonderful weekend, whether you celebrated or not, got to see family. I gotta say, I had a very, very, very long weekend. I need more hours in the day, not more hours for work to give me to work, but a few more hours to get stuff done. So Friday I had a half day. I actually went and picked up a bunch of mulch, did some work in the front yard. Even my son even helped out, which was actually shocking because he doesn't like to help out with anything. But he actually wanted to help out, so he helped out with stuff. And I had to finish a video just so I had my my classic review to go up on Saturday. And then Saturday I woke up and I knew I had to get all the grocery shopping done and all that other good stuff. So I ran around, did that, and then started just filming. And I filmed a good amount in the morning and then jumped into redoing the plumbing underneath my my kitchen sink because it had started to drip and leak and I didn't know what it was. And as soon as I got underneath it, after buying all the stuff, and I'm not a plumber, believe me, I know this for a fact now. I realized what had rusted out on it, which was a lot of fun having to fix. And again, it's not that it was super hard, but it's not something that I do. So, note to self: next time there needs to be some plumbing, maybe just pay someone. Just, of course, next time I need to do it, I'll just do it on my own again, because you want to save some money, and it's stuff that's all you can learn everything on YouTube for the most part. I just don't want to burn down the house. I think that's the one thing we don't want to do. But then I went and I recorded some recorded TV terminal talking Mobland episode 4. I'm gonna drop a link. Please head on over there. Give it a like, give it a follow, watch it, and even if you don't want to follow that new channel that myself and Adam are doing, you should be watching Mobland. It is absolutely awesome. It is a show that I'm glad that him and I jumped on it, that was something that we decided to talk about. This episode was a building episode, I'll just say. Episode 3, uh, by far the best of the 4 episodes. It just all over. It did so much. So anyway, go over there, check it out. They're also talking The Last of Us, him and his brother. So if that's something you're interested in, you just want to hear a couple of yahoos talking about it, head on over there, have fun. And then this is the interesting part. I have my second dog here. So my ex dropped off her dog because she had to go to Texas for training. So Matthew, if you want to go hang out with my ex, you are more than welcome to. She's somewhere in the Dallas area. And as I'm filming the G.I. Joe headquarters classic review, which took parts that I had to do it in sections, I finish one and then I hear him and look down, and this little Bichon Shih Tzu is puking all over my floor. All over the damn floor. Now, this was like the 3rd time I think that he had puked, or maybe it was the 2nd time. He puked like 4 times in like an hour and a half. Talk about absolutely frustrating. I don't know if it's separation anxiety. It's not like he didn't live here for a few years of his life, but man, was it aggravating. But yeah, so Matthew, I don't know why you'd want to do that. I'm just offering it. Anyway, let's say hi to the chat, because there's 43 of you watching right now. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't. So many of you don't realize you're not subscribed, but let's say hi to everyone. We have Triple D's Dungeon, we have Big M, we have Johnny Reno, Alex Martinez, we have the moderator Matthew Matson, we have Machine Man, we have GI Bro, FCS Dog, JLS Comics Men, who's here? I said Machine Man already. U.S. Combat Dojo, Crusty Old Crow, who at one time wanted to change his name to just Old Crow. Travis Moody kept saying Crusty Crow, and I said, you keep it at Crusty Old Crow. Will Murphy. We have Osrodamus Toys, who took a break on a Saturday and let the inmates run the asylum. We have Stanley Everhart here. MTC, David R. Just Jeff. Oop, I forgot to highlight David R. Just Jeff. Good Lord. Just Jeff. J. Astro. JLS Comics, who has some amazing, it's seriously amazing content. If you're not following him, head on over there. JLS Comics, and you want to find anything about almost any Marvel character or almost any G.I. Joe character, he has a nice 15 to 20 minute video about them. You will learn a lot. Snow Wolf is here. Beardy Makeup Beardist, and we have Cobra Commander. 610 Yo Joe Daddy, who I saw over watching Gains and Jerk. I'm glad that you jump on over here. I'm glad you're over there also watching them. I will have Gains on, not Gains, I already had Gains on. I will have Yojo Jerk on this Thursday with a Friend. Turk Murphy Toy Solutions is here. We have I Love Football. Who the hell doesn't love football? Man, I swear, if you guys don't love football, you've just never sat down to watch it. Rowdy Riles is here. We have Fat Trid. He's my 118th guy here. He's my 118th guy. Frank Dumagno is here. Woo! 3-star draw. It took me long enough to find your name here, Darren. We have a Brick Something who is already joining us. We have my other moderator, Action Figs Ed, who he's on the right channel right now. He has 2 different channels. You're gonna want to head on over there, watch him and the other moderator, Matthew Matson. Again, sadly, they both have different channels. So both of you post a link to your shows for tomorrow, your channels of where you're going to be. Johnny Reno is also here. We have Pancho Studios. Whew. Now there's a whole bunch of other names that we've already seen. Plastic Skulls is joining us. Derek Holloman. War Chest Full of Toys. I love that War Chest can show up on time for this, but not on the show that he's being interviewed on. Oh, I'm never gonna let that go. Just Jeff says that's how Dobby started Punk. Feels bad. No, every time he comes over, he does that. Every time he comes over, he pukes, and I don't know why. And then he gets over it. So it was like it was so much, and it was annoying as hell. Because he spends time here. It's not like he doesn't see me, doesn't know me. But no, it's nothing like that. I think it's just his anxiety. We have Hustle SM has joining us. All right. So let's get into a little bit. Like I said, I kind of already told you, gave you the rundown of what the weekend was. This week I dropped, or shall I say last week, I dropped a couple Super 7. And man, let me tell you, I'm not impressed with Super 7. I know, shocker to everyone. Their Reaction Plus are just, well, they're O-rings. That's the best way to put it. I did the Duke, and then I did the Python Patrol Bat. Again, I like the idea of what Super 7 wants to do. I like what Super 7, what they want to do when it comes to giving us figures that we never had. Now, I have not got to doing the opening the Ramar. Is that how you pronounce his name? Ramar. He's a little bit bigger of a figure. That's one of the things that kind of excites me about it. And it's kind of what gets me into the topic of today. Graf has joined us, and we have Victor jumping in here. So he says Super Turd is a better name. Well, it's up to you. But I gotta say, like the Super 7, like it's all there for you. Everyone has already done the work for you, right? There is no reason why Super 7 shouldn't have the ball joint neck where they can look down. There's no reason why they shouldn't have articulated wrist. And people can say, see, people use the argument for 2 different things, which drives me nuts. They'll say, well, this is not supposed to be a Real American Hero line. This is supposed to be something different. Well, that's not what I'm told. I'm told that this is a continuation of the Real American Hero line. But there's no reason why you can't give them articulated wrist, and why their necks aren't on the ball joint to look down, even if it's just a slight bit. Other than Super 7 is absolutely cheap, and they just don't look nearly as good. Skunkworks has joined us. And I know people, again, I'm hard on Super 7. Everyone else has already done the work for them. All they have to do is recreate it. Like, look at Delta 17. Look what Skeletron put on, and there's other O-rings. But one of the things that I had mentioned, and I did post a link in that Duke video to Articulated Points video with Patrick Stewart, where they talk about that the faces weren't painted. That's the color of the actual plastic, and Super 7 is painting it. Now, don't get me wrong, Hasbro has painted some of the O-ring figures as of recently, but it changes everything. It really does change the way you look at it. And if you watch that video, he goes way more in depth than I do. And it's very disappointing that they can't just get with the times. They can't look what everyone else is doing and create something better. The gun with the bat was a huge complaint of mine because it looked big. And then I realized when I actually had it out that the hand is too small to actually, or the gun, the handle's too thin to actually hold in the hand. It's even worse than what I thought because it looks too big, but then the handle's actually too thin. It actually fits in an O-ring and falls right out. Largo's Lair has jumped in there. Great to see you. We have Evo Dookie here, and then Ronnie Trickshot. And I do want to say thank you, Skunkworks. Thank you, Roman, too. Thank you, Skunkworks. I definitely I like doing the reviews, and I like to give you guys the best look of stuff that I can. Not I know not everyone does it, not everyone looks at that type of stuff. Uh, but I do my best to show you everything. And if I get more knowledge, like I did with the articulated points video, uh, like I said, there was something looking at all of those Super 7 O-rings that I couldn't figure out what was wrong. Like there was something amiss in them. And it was when he told me the whole painted thing, that the rivets, all that type of stuff, and it made complete sense. So, um, again, if you love the Super 7 or you love the O-ring, hey, maybe you're going to like it. I just think there's a lot that was missing. And when I point out the detail, I understand people say, hey, this is supposed to be comic accurate, but there's still a way to do it where you can have there's still a way to do it where you have more detail. And some of the stuff is really good. You say what you want about reaction figures, and I have a lot to say. Usually their sculpts and their paint are pretty good. That's why I hate it when people tried saying that, you go to the dollar store and you get the Final Faction and they're the exact same. They're not the same. I won't even go that far. So, Wrecking Ship 85 has joined us. We have Viper Scout, another 118th guy. We have Raw Talk, Real Deal. What's up? Pug Super 7 seems to be doing only the TV series, like the Ultimates, because Hasbro is doing the A Real American Hero with Transformers combo. Now, what they've said is that they are not going to do anything that's already been done. Like, they're not going to reuse the molds, which is, I think, most people appreciate. Like, I know for me, that's what I want. I don't need another exacted Duke. But they really should be giving you, like, they've already done they've already done two Snake Eyes and two Cobra Commanders. And Snake Eyes have actually retooled him. There's a completely different mold. Talk about throwing your money down the drain. Why would you do that? I understand you want to have one, but why would you do two right away? Doesn't make any sense to me. Evil Dookie. And it would be one thing to talk about it and be like, well, you guys aren't running a company, right? You're not running a company. And that's all true. The only problem is that we know that Super 7 has been in financial trouble for quite some time. It's well documented. So clearly they're not doing things right and they're watching everyone pass them by. And again, you even have someone, like when you look at, and I've been very boisterous about the Four Horsemen. It doesn't have the greatest articulation. But no one ever complains about the accessories, the paint, the sculpt on them, right? Like, you don't get the same thing with the Ultimates, which are actually more expensive than, the Four Horsemen stuff. So, Painful Thoughts, which is Payne's Toy Samples, jumping in here. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Again, I mean, I could go on and on about it, and the reason is I know, contrary to what a lot of people have told me, I'm a classified guy. I'm not. I keep looking at those sailors from, there's another company that they sold out of two versions of the sailors. They give you like 5 different heads. I want to know if they fit on Shipwreck, because if they fit on Shipwreck, that's awesome, because I have a whole bunch of Shipwrecks that I could swap out the heads and I don't have to order like a bunch of sailors, right? So I want them to do well. I want them to create some pretty nice O-ring figures. And again, just so you understand, like, I was pretty boisterous. I don't believe that the O-rings that Hasbro was doing recently were that good either. I mean, that Duke was absolutely awful. It looked like a blind kid painted it. All right. It was really bad. Heavy Armor Twice. Thank you very much. I have it saved in my phone. And again, I'm willing to pay a little bit more for stuff like that if I really want it. And Wrecking Ship, do those heads fit on the Shipwreck sculpt? Uh, Someone said they said in the comment when I asked that they said some of them have, but they haven't tried it on shipwreck. And all I could think of was like, you created a sailor with 5 fucking heads, and you didn't try it on a shipwreck. You would think that's like, hey, we have these sailors. Let's see if they fit on shipwreck because we're giving you 5 different heads. Um, Profit 924 jumping in here saying these all disappear from the pegs. They're just producing enough to sell out. I don't know which ones you're talking about. Super 7 clogs the pegs. Now, we haven't seen a lot of the O-ring, but they clog the pegs. And if you're talking about classify, also understand this. When people say they only make enough to sell out, Target, Walmart, whoever it is, they're the ones buying the quantity. It's not like they're not saying we're only going to give you 10. It's Target saying we only want 10. We only want 5. Stuff like that. So, but anyway, it's, again, hopefully we see something a little bit better. Raw Talk says at least they listen and change from the matte plastic that they use for the reaction line. I mean, again, I'm not an expert, so I did notice that there was a difference. Again, they have the right idea. I just think that their execution, unfortunately, I've talked about this numerous times. Their execution, I think, is poor, and I think most people would agree with me. We have Nolan jumping in here, which makes us Toy Tube official. And then we have Rad Toys Galaxy saying there must be 1 million Super 7 G.I. Joe sailors at my Toys R Us. Well, that would be nice if we had a Toys R Us. I did see. Was it you that posted for $6? I think was it you that posted that they're going for $6 right now. Which would be awesome. But I'll be honest, I have one reaction, 1 or 2. I think I only have one reaction sailor. And it's just, I mean, it's bad enough I have 8 shipwrecks. They all look the exact same, but they still all look better than the reaction sailor. But I'll get off the Super 7. I still have the Ramar to do. Again, if I see figures that I like, I will try and pick them up. I still saw the Cover Girl, and I can't buy it. It is absolutely awful. It is dead eyes. That is the best way to put it. G.I. Jetman, great to have you here. We have Shark Eyes, and then we have Quip, who, I'm sorry, I gotta say, Quip, thank you yesterday. I love that you said, I'm a real boy. That made me laugh my ass off. Quip is, I guess you are the new co-host of Geek Dad Life with Jay. So I haven't really been watching Geek Dad Life all that much recently. And I happened to check it out when you were on there. And then I saw you were jumping in here. So I wanted to jump over there and support you. And then just kind of looking, and it seems like you are the new co-host, which is good because I think if you're constantly bouncing around with special guest host, sorry, Brick, and anyone else, my buddy Ken, you don't get you don't have that cohesive talk when you're bouncing around. And I think a lot of people saw it when John left Geek Dad Life. So Quip, I'm glad that it looks like you're part of that now. So, and again, I laughed pretty hard when you said I'm a real boy. Hardly anyone else got it, but I got it, and that's all that matters. Ted Knight is jumping in here. So anyway, that was the Super 7. As for the classic videos, I dropped a Whirlwind, and then I jumped into Series 2. I jumped into Series 2 because I was not ready to do the headquarters. So I did Clutch version 2 and the Vamp Mark 2. The headquarters I did, as I mentioned earlier, over the weekend. I was going to do the headquarters. I put it on my bar, and it's like 2 inches too long from the bar because there's a lip on it, which meant I couldn't show how the thing locked together, and it would be at an angle, and it wouldn't have bothered anyone else, but it would have bugged the living crap out of me. Quip says, yep, I'm happy to be the new co-host. Says Jay's been great. He's been away the past 2 weeks in Japan, but he'll be back Sunday. No, and you know what? Congratulations, because I don't know. I've told people this numerous times, even though I've kind of gotten away just from everything. Once you start doing this as much as I do, and other people, you'll try and stay away from YouTube or toy tubing a little bit. I did this on Monday because I didn't want to go up against Geek Dead Life or Toy Anxiety, and I picked Mondays. It is what worked best for me. It was strategic, and I think it's actually worked out well. So, but congratulations to you. Seriously, congratulations. Again, as when you see a special co-host every single time, I don't know, but it's just me, right? It's just me. Once you have that cohesiveness, man, I think it works so much better. So much better. All right. Anyway, so this week I also should be getting the figure Obscura if they send it out. Who knows? Sometimes when you order the figure Obscura, which I ordered first thing in the morning, you'll get it right away. Other times, people that are the last person that orders it will get it. We've gone through this one before. So hopefully that I'll have that this week. And then I finally ordered a Mafex, and I ordered the Terminator T800 Mafex. It was sitting there. Every single promotional picture that I saw, it looks awesome. So I definitely jumped on that, and I don't know, the shipping label's done, so I should have it hopefully in a couple days. I'm definitely looking forward to it. But like I said, I have the headquarters, and I don't know what other classic reviews that I'm jumping. So this Wednesday, the G.I. Joe headquarters will come out. Saturday and Sunday, I don't know. I have it all written down somewhere. The videos are done. I just have to edit them and put them together, which is the easiest part. Just time consuming, to be 100% honest. But yeah, so there'll be more classic reviews. I went through all my classic reviews for the G.I. Joe stuff that I have, and doing three a week, Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. For everything that I have right now through Series 4, it'll put me into next year. Okay? It puts me into next year. So, and then at Joe Fest, I am hoping that I'll be able to pick up some of the stuff that I don't have for the other series, because there's a good amount. Sheldon's over there. Okay, well, don't forget your little dog if you leave. Don't forget your little dog if he wants to go with you.
He's asleep.
Okay. So anyway.
Did you show them the little dog?
No, but they've seen him before.
Okay, we can see him again. They see Roman all the time.
Well, I know, but he didn't come over here, so I'm not going to bother him.
Call him little dog, like the song. It's a tiny dog.
Yes, that's my daughter. If you guys don't know, that's Olivia, who just, she doesn't care that I'm doing something. So
I came for beverages. You talked to me first. I wasn't going to say anything.
Well, because I was waiting for you to start. I think everyone's always waiting for you to start.
I was like, I really want some ice cold water.
If someone joins the membership right now, you can get a live version of Welcome to the Creamery as she stands right here. She has some big eyes. But anyway, past that, this week, as I mentioned earlier, a guy that is live probably right now still, Yojo Jerk will be on Thursday with a friend. It'll be at a special time of 10 p.m. So tune in then. Don't be wondering why I'm not live at 9. It's be 10 p.m. because he is going to be live, and then he's going to jump right on over. The same thing that we did for Toy Games. So should be good. And then I have a whole list. Man, I got everything packed. Hopefully, as long as no one bails, to the middle of July. And then I got to figure things out because that's, we're going into the Joe Fest season. So I have to definitely work with all of that. And then tomorrow we have Circle of Jerks. And I believe the topic is girls icky. Again, this is a whole baldy thing. All right. This is a whole baldy thing. So you guys know. It's basically his baby. He comes up with this weird topic. I say go with it. Maybe he finally sent the links for it. I don't know. That's why they go up so late. All right. I gotta talk about something from last week. And I'm not gonna try and I don't want this to come off as attacking you, Cobra, Emperor, G.I. Joe. But a couple things. When we say it's time to move on, you can't keep going on. Another thing is, I love your participation. All right. If we didn't like you, I would have we would have banned you. But when you type out numerous things and keep going on, we have to slow down the chat, which affects everyone else. So, and this goes for anyone and everyone. You just have to kind of keep it to, remember, there's everyone else. There's everyone else, and I can't let one person ruin the chat or the stream for everyone. So just be aware. Like, self-awareness is one of the biggest things that anyone can do in this world. All right. So I appreciate the I appreciate the participation, but when each comment is a novel, man. So all right. Profit 924 says, I enjoy those classic reviews. It's a great companion to the website showing off those figs like 3D Joe's. I've watched a few times while browsing and reading the file cards. Thank you very much. And again, it's one of those things that it's easy for me to create easy for me to create the content. I already have the stuff. It's stuff that will be evergreen because people will come back over and over and over and over, right? And that's one of the reasons why I absolutely love it, man. It's a lot of fun. So, oh, and hold on. Since she's here, let me call her really quick. I don't want to yell on the mic. All right, I said I need your help. And U.S. Combat Dojo has become a new member, and I'm working on getting her back here. Well, I think she might have went downstairs. All right, I got a new member, so I said
They exceeded the time limit.
Well, you're already back, so come on over here. You got to speak in the mic now, though. See, now you got to speak into the mic because I got a new, better mic. No, don't do that because it pops it.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
All right, well, come over here. Come on. I only have 3 hours.
Oh no.
Only have 2. It's oh no. Say it properly or don't say it at all.
I'm saying oh no as myself.
No. You say oh no as everyone knows. You only say oh no as Mossman. Oh no.
Okay, that's for you.
All right, come on. Welcome to the creamery.
Welcome to the creamery.
Hope you guys heard that.
Yeah, you just saw my fat double chin or butt chin there.
Oh, shut up. And Jeff said, rip headphone users. I told her, though, and you're no one to talk, man. You're no one to talk, man. We've had you on, and you're like, that thing is popping, and you've had some of the worst sound ever. All right. Whew. Can you turn the light on and then turn the fan on and then turn the light off? Because it's getting hot up here. Oh, man.
God.
Light off, fan on. Thank you. And that's the other reason why I called her up here. And Largo's Lair says, "Good job, Olivia. Chip off the old punk." And just Jeff says, "Sure, I figured out why. It should be fixed. No, it is. It's much better. It is much better. I'm not gonna lie. But there's the one day that you were on, and everyone was like, "Good lord." um, um, turn it down one, please.
What are you joking? Is it a long one or a short one?
It's a short one.
Is it you or is it Ed?
What?
You?
That one
or
right there. You, I guess.
No, you or Ed. Because this is short, that's tall.
Oh my gosh. Seriously, did you hear that, Ed? For the fan and the light, there's two different switches or two different ropes. And she was saying, which one is it, you or Ed? The short or the long one?
I made
Ed's not that tall. Ed
is
is.
the birthday card and I made you real tiny.
Yeah,
I made it like
yes.
this was you and this was Ed.
All right, get out of here.
Less actually. This was probably you.
All right, get out of here. I love you.
Okay,
All right.
knows.
We are closing on May the Power of the Force. And I have gotten my Anakin pod racer in. Look at this. So if you don't know what May the Power of the Force is, Allison and I came up with this idea because we were making fun of someone that was complaining about people that review old figures last year. And equip, and remember early, like on the show yesterday, you said, "I don't care what anyone says, I'll take heat. I love pod racing." No, pod racing is fucking awesome. Like, I love pod racing. So we came up with something last year. We reviewed the Power of the Force 95 figures, basically because they're cheap and it's just for fun. You can do it any style you want. It doesn't have to be, it can be your style. It could be a commercial. Pop Blender pretty much did a commercial. So if anyone is interested, because we're trying to fill up 31 days of 31 different content creators, we are far from that. I think we have about 10 to 12. And I know people have offered to do more. Yeah, Tony, start doing it because you're probably going to be the second one to go. Just I'm going to start scheduling what day I want everyone to go. I will go first. I haven't talked to Allison, but we'll probably do a live stream to kick it off. I gotta talk to her about what day. It could be any day because I seem to be live like every single day now. But yeah. So if you guys are interested, shoot me a message. All you have to do is pick up some sort of original prequel figure. That is the theme. They're cheap. You still get them for $5 to $10. Quip, you're down. Okay, message me. What original? I can't believe they're actually vintage. The vintage prequel figure you want to review in any style that you want to. Any style that you want to. And then I will give you a date and what time to drop it. And again, if you know anyone that's interested, this is just fun, man. Again, you buy I bought that thing for $30, and there is an actual story to it. One reason why I did want it. So I'll actually talk about that in the video, I'm sure, but we're gonna have fun. We found a lot of things last year when we did it. The May the Power of the Force, which all started because of muscular Star Wars guys and some big giant YouTuber mad that people review old figures. So that's what we're doing this year. If you're interested, please hit us up, either myself or Allison Troy. As I said last night on Geek Dead Life while I was in the chat, she's always angry. She's always mad about something, right? So, but yeah. All right. So there is a convention coming up that many of us know, which is Joe Fest. Now, Sharlock recently hit me up. He sent me the links for Assembly Required. or codename Iowa. I can't figure out what it's actually called. I think it's supposed to be called Assembly Required, right? Am I right? But I think that's taken. So they go by codename Iowa. I looked into it. If I can swing it, getting the time off of work and financially when I get back from Joe Fest, I'm going to go to codename Iowa also. So that's kind of why I threw this. This is why I threw the poll up here, asking who's going to Joe Fest, who's going to codename Iowa, who's going to both, who's going to neither. I've heard codename Iowa is really good. It's only 2 days. It's on Friday and Saturday. From what I understand, it doesn't cost anything. So all you have to do is, get your hotel room, or maybe you want to sleep in your car. But it's November in Iowa, so probably not the best idea. But yeah, so I'm probably going to be going to both, and hopefully I'll see different groups of people. I'm pretty sure that once I tell people I'm going to codename Iowa, I'm probably going to hear from some other people asking, why aren't you going to Legion's Con? Well, because it's the opposite way. It's a little bit further, I believe. Or maybe it's about the same. But that's like right before Thanksgiving, and I take the week of Thanksgiving off. So, Bobby Wold says, "What about the bootleg Power of the Force figures, like Rats Raw?" We're not doing Power of the Force. Is it a bootleg episode or a prequel figure? That's what we need to know. Rad Toys Galaxy says this is going to be his first year for Joe Fest. I'm telling you guys, Joe Fest is so much fun. And I have a feeling codename Iowa is going to be in the same vein, just not as many days because they're in the same hotel. I just cannot believe. I'm going to find it hard to believe that anyone is going to be like Joe Fest, where they just the hotel employees are just like, it's your hotel. You guys do what you want as long as you're not causing any problems. So, okay. So JLS says codename Iowa is the name of the group that hosts AR. you made it more confusing. Stanley says, will there be a Punk with Toys Joe Fest attendee event page? No, I don't believe so. I mean, I'll be there. I'm not going to have a table. I'm not signing autographs. I'll just be some Yahoo on the floor walking around. SCS Dog says, went to codename Iowa for the first time last year, only because I could drive it, had fun. Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun last year. I know Patrick Stewart goes every year. Last year, Chris McLeod went. Sharlock, who I've said, he always goes. So I think Matthew, did you go to codename Iowa one year? I know Matthew wants to go. Matthew seems to want to go to that more than Joe Fest, even though he knows all the cool people are at Joe Fest. But Ray Black jumping in here. So I'm looking to go to both shows. I'm venturing out as I approach 50 years old. As I approach 50, I'm starting to actually do things for myself rather than everything with the kids, which is nothing wrong with. Please take care of your family first, and that's how it should be. But Joe Fest was the first. This will shock some of you guys. Joe Fest was the first adult vacation I took without kids. Like, I've never gone on vacation, without kids till Joe Fest. And there's a toy convention at that. Like how old are you again? But yeah, everyone, like, as an adult, when I went to do something, the girlfriend before their mom, she had 2 kids when I got in the relationship. So every time I went on vacation, we went with her kids. And then when I got into the relationship with Susan, she already had a daughter. So yeah, like last year was the first adult, and I've said it before, it was one of the best weekends of my life. So, and Quip, I don't know where you're at, but man, I'd love to meet you too. You seem a lot of fun. again, and you did a really good job. I want to say, if you're not watching Geek Dead Life now, and again, I've always talked about Geek Dead Life. They were the juggernaut for the longest time. Uh, check them out. Uh, again, I think it's gonna get. I think it's gonna get back to where it was. Are we gonna do Stump Quip? Is that gonna be a new segment, or did that get retired with John? So, uh, and Matthew says, I support Brian Sauer as I can. Um, yeah, I mean, there's so many good people that put on a lot of these shows. And I don't just mean the Joe ones. Obviously, the Four Horsemen being involved with Legion's Con. From what I understand, the Four Horsemen do not put on Legion's Con. It's somebody that has kind of become associated with them. Joe Fest is not put on by anyone from Hasbro. God forbid that Hasbro, you know, God forbid Hasbro sends somebody down for a convention that is made for them. Wouldn't want Hasbro to spend that money to send Lenny and Tony down there. It would probably cost them like $2,000. But yeah, but there's a lot of these people, and what they do again. I've talked to Ed, and I recently talked to Ed. I'm going to have Ed on early May, Sunday, early May, to talk Joe Fest. Not to do another Thursday with a friend, but to talk Joe Fest and everything that's going to be going on with it. Which I'm really looking forward to it. When I had him on last time, it was to learn about him. I want to talk more about Joe Fest, everything that goes into it, what he's hoping. Hopefully, he wants to continue to do this for years and years to come, because I think finding someone else to want to take it over would be absolutely crazy. So, and then Ed says, you only saw the best weekend because you got to hang out with Moody all weekend. You mean Mood Wreck. Travis was fun to hang out with. Travis can drive me nuts. Sitting in the hotel, watching Baldy and Tony drive him nuts while I'm trying to ask him questions, and watching literally steam come out of his ears at 2 a.m., that was priceless too. Quip says, no stomach Quip. I have nowhere near as much toy knowledge as John does. And that's why that's why he owns a toy store now. And Allison, hey, I don't know if you heard me. I want to get with you so we can do a live stream for May the Power of the Force. I'm thinking maybe this weekend, probably Sunday. I've pretty much already decided what day I want to do it. All right. Before we start getting into some of the news, Entertainment Earth. Good Lord, guys. So Entertainment Earth kind of did the same thing that BBTS did. Kind of sent a letter out doing their backtracking. Now, I said I will never get into politics here. There's no place for it here on my toy channel. Maybe if there's other people, that's perfectly fine. But you know what's funny? That's not even the best story. The best part is that after I did clog the toilet, and I did, first thing in the morning, both Travis and Tony had to go take their morning crap and walk down the hall, and Travis sat right next to him in the same, sat right next to the same stall. Like he could have used the buffer, but not Travis. Ed, I promise I won't do that again this year. I can't promise that. As nice as those hotels were, they had the worst doors ever. They're like these French doors. They don't really close, so there's a gap no matter what. It's so stupid. Halt the Basher jumping in here, saying happy birthday to Allison Troy. But anyway, Entertainment Earth, they kind of sent the same letter out that don't adjust prices. And the fact of the matter is, some of these companies, and I understand you want to be proactive. You do need to be proactive in many ways. but they jumped the gun. They started jacking up the prices immensely. And now here they are kind of backtracking. And I will give credit when credit is due. Bobby Valla, I know, has said, I'll wait to kind of see things out. And I think that's the proper approach to use. You don't know where it's going to be. We don't know where things are going to be in 6 months. Things are going to change. Things are going to change. They're going to be done. And now, Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store, it's kind of like you have no fucking clue what you're going to be paying. Now, I understand they can say the same thing. We don't, but they're like changing their, oh, well, we're going to drop the price here, or maybe the price will be more. And I'll just like, dude, just calm down. Like, give it a second, because you didn't let it happen long enough. All you have to do is let people know, hey, there's these new tariffs coming in. We might have to change some prices on your pre-orders as they come in going forward. We're working it out. But it's just, it's one of those. So Entertainment Earth, and they've gone crazy with jacking up their price. That's the biggest thing. I looked at some of their prices when I was putting out my links, and I'm like, I already had everything written down. So I'm like, I'm not going to go erase things. But at the moment people were like $32 for a classified figure, and I was like, yeah, I already had it written up. That's why I didn't remove it. I can see how many people buy stuff through Entertainment Earth through my codes. I know everyone has a code, so it's not like it's anything special. But if it's not on sale, no one's buying it from Entertainment Earth, because half the stuff that I can find at stores is still saying that it is on pre-order. But I know that they've gotten it because they've shipped it out to their supply, or to the stores. So it's they're messed up. 3-star says BBTS and E are going to skim so much money off the top of those tariff fees. I don't think BBTS is going to be 100% honest. Entertainment Earth, they live off their distribution. They're kind of like, we have this stuff. Why don't we sell it to the public if need be? I think that's why they just hand out the 10% off codes, because by the time you're paying that, it's just a little bit more than what like Sergeant Reds and them are paying. And I know that for a fact. So they're not really losing any money by giving codes out. They're hoping to draw in more. And 3-star, I don't know why you don't have one. You should contact them. There's no reason why you shouldn't have one. You do a channel. You should have it there. So when someone does buy it, boom, So Aaron Stepien jumping in here. Great topic to pop into. I hope you guys are going to enjoy it, and it's going to be a little different than what I think people are expecting. So, all right. Now, quickly, before we get into the toy news, let's talk about a couple of sponsors. We do have merch, so if you are interested, support the channel. Hella Dope Toys, which you're going to hear from in a second. The code APWT, get 10% off. Rumor is that if you order, Mossman is now he is personally shipping next day. One business day. And I don't know, maybe if you're lucky, you'll find a little bit of his flock in your order. But go there, support them. They're one of the only places where if you order anything for Horseman and use that code, it usually populates, because it's across the store, so you can get it to work. So they can get away with that. So go ahead, go over there. And again, Aaron and Ted are they're wonderful people. They don't pay Ed more than I pay Ed to be my moderator. So, we work together, making sure, because we don't, Ted and I have talked, we don't want to be paying, like, we never want Ed to go back to one of us and be like, hey, this is how much they're paying me. Or he can go back there and say, hey, this is how much he's paying me. So we make sure that we know that we are paying him the same amount, which is 0. But Hello Dope Toys, we have the Amazon links. When you see an Amazon link, or how if you're gonna buy something, you want to support the channel without having to buy a membership, send a super chat, right? Best way to support it, use an Amazon link. Allison, this girl here, again, thank you, Allison, so much. Every time she wants something on Amazon, she sends me a link and says, hey, she sends me what it is and says, send me a link. And I do it for her. Best way to support the channel. Easiest way to support the channel, other than hitting that like and subscribe. As I mentioned, we have Entertainment Earth. Oh wait, hold on. I should do this here. And before anyone wonders, I'm only shilling because if I don't show for myself, who else is going to show for me? Entertainment Earth is a punk. And then if you do like the Top Fun Toys 3D printed weapons, you get 10% off using my code Punk with Toys. Just drop the A. He said he'll always leave that up because if someone watches an old review and they want to buy something, it's always going to be there. So, and Allison says we just bought a house and have been doing repairs that require Amazon stuff. And Allison, I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. Like the amount of stuff that you have sent me. Hey, get me a link. So obviously I have to see the price. Some of that stuff has been very pricey and is greatly appreciated. And again, I send the stuff right back to you when I want to get something. We have Terrence Next Toys jumping in here saying, sounds scummy. Ed is worth his weight in gold. Ed is amazing. I would not, let's just say I would not be willing to share a hotel room with someone if I didn't like them or think I could be or spend a week with them in the same room. Ed and I are sharing a room. And Tony will too when he finally says, I'm going to Joe Fest. And as here in a few years, you will all receive the bills from my legal representative for past due payroll. I keep track of all my hours. Well, you know what? You might have a lot to send me because I'm live all the time. Anyway, it's about time to get into the topic, or to get into the actual toy news. I spent an hour wasting your time, which I do appreciate, but you know what it means? I just saw Tony make a comment, which means it's time for a little Mossman.
Oh, hey guys. So Lawrence, he had to step away for a little bit. He's got a case of the grumble duff. So he asked me to kind of watch over a stream. He put me in charge of y'all. He said to me, oh, Mossman, I have a case of the grumble dust, and I need you to watch myself for a little bit so nobody leaves and finds out that there's more interesting things to watch on YouTube. And also, I hate Ohio. So I was like, oh, dang, so now I have to come up with a topic for my very own show. And I was like, oh, what about talking about your favorite toy stores? So my favorite toy store is HelloDopeToys.com. So they used to have this really bad website. It used to look real scammy. Like if I gave them money, they were going to go spend it on like blow and hookers. But now their website is really nice. And like I can just go in and do like 1-2 click. And then my order's placed. And they ship super fast, guys. They ship everything in 1 business day. So like I get all my toys first. So when I'm out there on the playground and all my friends are like, oh, dang, Mossman, where'd you get that action figure? I still have to wait 17 months for mine. And I'm just like, well, I went to HelloDopeToys.com and I just push the buttons and then they shipped it out to me. And the packaging is so nice, guys. Like, I opened up the box and I was like, oh, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this kind of packaging. It's so nice. But then my trash can gets full because of all the packing stuff. And I was just like, oh, dang, I just changed the trash. But now I gotta change the trash again. Oh, you're right, Matthew Matson. You can use the code APWT at HelloDopeToys.com and save 10% on your order. So how that works is, so you're gonna save 10%, and then a Punk with Toys, he has to pay that 10% that y'all save. So if you don't like Lawrence, you can just go to HelloDopeToys.com and just buy a bunch of stuff and rack up his bill. So then like at the end of the month, they're like, Hello Dope Toys is like, oh, Lawrence, you owe us $1 million because of all the 10% codes that everybody used. And yeah, that's how that works. Okay, guys, so it looks like it's time for me to go now. So make sure you go to helldopetoys.com and like and subscribe, and then in the comments put what your favorite toy store is. But if it's not helldopetoys.com, I'm probably just going to delete it, okay? So, all right, guys, bye!
And Tony is absolutely 100% wrong. Halt the Basher. Ted said he was supposed to be working on one. I know he's real busy, so I'm also not going to hound him too much, but I do mention it to him from time to time. So he does know, and he said he did promise me one. And since now I'm the only place that you can hear or see the Moss Man, unless if they do one for their own channel, it's good advertising. It's good to bring people in here because, contrary to what this asshole says, people love Moss Man. All right. So people love Moss Man. Mr. D saying, can't stay up, just stop to give you a thumbs up. Let me know when you review the Cobra Snake armor. And if a third party makes a click on and off back rock disguise like the G.I. Joe pilot. Well, it's going to be a while before they get that snake armor. I don't think that's not due for quite some time. So, Cobra Emperor says, hey, Punk, what's going to happen with call sign Longbow and Operation Recall? As I think China stopped all shipping to America. There was a YouTube video saying that China stops all shipments. Well, when you back a Kickstarter, that's, there's a risk that you never get anything. Here's what I will say. As much as I have banged on them, Call Sign Longbow and Operation Recall, because I backed 4 figures from each of them, not an all-in like a lot of people. I feel like the wait has been too long. I think that some of these should have been in hand. We've seen Skeletron get stuff out. We saw Delta 17 do things. I cannot speak on Call Sign Longbow, but as for Operation Recall, Carson has too good of a name in this community. Carson has done numerous Kickstarters that have all funded and been shipped. So even though I think that at this point, I think it's a little unacceptable that we've had to wait close to 3 years for O-ring figures, I don't worry that they're not going to come. This is something that's out of their control when it comes to all of this stuff. But, Matthew here is also saying that is not correct. Cobra Emperor, Matthew follows this more than anyone. So I tend to believe that Matthew has probably heard something, probably watched the political climate, but it may delay stuff. I don't know. But as far as I know, all I see is that they're just getting the paint masters in. So what does it even matter? That means it might be a while before we even see any of these Operation Recall. I mean, that's some of the stuff that kind of shocks me. Mudalock 66 jumping here saying, man, parading that claw was some bullshit. I disagree. Mine just froze and said trying again repeatedly till it then said item unavailable. We're going to talk about that when we get to the G.I. Joe section. Andrew Taylor jumping in here. Half the vendors on AliExpress are saying they cannot ship to the U.S. Cannot or will not. Okay, China is blocking imports, not exports. That kind of makes sense because they don't pay we're the ones paying the tariffs. But yeah. So as for the claw, I had no problem. I ordered on my phone. I ordered one using the app, and I ordered 2 using the website on my phone. If you have a problem with the Hasbro Pulse site, you need to try either a different browser. Make sure your app is up to date. Tony said he had the same issue and then realized he didn't have the latest app, and he uses an Android. That thing was up for about 9 hours, and then I believe it went up the next day. So I am not sure how anyone had a hard time getting it. And I know that's going to make a lot of people mad. And we're going to talk about that when we get to the G.I. Joe section, that is for sure. But before that, we're going to start with a little Masters of the Universe. Now, this is the time that you guys can take a quick nap. As you know, there's not a lot of Motu that I do these days, but we do have a new Hordak. Now, I think one of the best things about this, what Mattel is doing, is that to have the honor to pay to buy this figure, you also get to spend $10 a year to be part of their club. But we do have this punk rock Hordak, which I think actually looks pretty cool. Now, I'm not really into this stuff, but I've been mentioning, I think a lot of these figures have, when it comes to the price point that you're paying, when it comes to the origins, man, they knocked it out of they've been knocking out of the ballpark with the head sculpts. They do not look like $18 figures. Here's the same head sculpt we've already seen. I do like the colors. I do think it's pretty unique here. Quickly, I'll just say, Muda said, I started trying as soon as it came up on the site. After about an hour and a half of saying, sorry, we have too many orders taking place right now. Try again in 10. Again, I ordered right away. I had no problem. And I know people were ordering, numerous times. So I don't know where people are having a problem. I use an iPhone. I said I ordered one on the app. I ordered two from the website on my phone. I did try and use it on my laptop, but Tony, I know, had an issue, and we told him, because it was actually during our show on Tuesday. We said, or maybe it was right before we started. We said, why don't you see if there's an app update? And there was, and then all of a sudden his app started working. So it's yeah. Baldy says, give Hordak a guitar. He needs a microphone. We've got guitars. We need microphones. Here's his helicopter arm. I truly know nothing about this. Here he can hold up a rock above his head. Again, these are only available on Mattel Creations. The Hurricane Hordak. Like I said, I am out of doing. I am out of the Origins line, but I still do. I still really enjoy the look of these. I think they're doing really good. And again, they've kicked ass with this stuff. Here's the back of it. Here's this punk rock using his little hurricane here. It is just another repaint. Again, I think it is a decent looking repaint. And then again, it looks like there might be a bunch of Easter eggs right there in the background. Now, I know Scott Nylick said that they're done with. Scott Nylick has said for years that they're done with Motu, but it still seems like they keep pumping these things out. So you say something long enough, and it will eventually, happen, I guess. So here's everything that he does come with: his hand chopper blade, his three balls, his spiked mohawk head, which is such a cool looking head. I just can't see Hordak running around like that. So, but anyway, that is your Hordak. I think I put these in twice. Because here's the mini comic. The one thing I do like about these is these mini comics are, they are one-offs. They're only used usually there's the same mini comic in 4 different figures, or at least they were. Now this is just one comic per figure. So make sure you put these in a little sleeve. Keep them aside. I actually still have all my mini comics because when I sold all my stuff, nobody wanted them. So eventually I'm going to sell them all or get rid of them somehow. And Bobby Wold says, Hordak must be awesome at a party making, what is that? So, And that's all my Motu news. And again, I wouldn't know if there's. I swear, Motu's like one of those, like, if they drop news, and I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know if this is new, if I already talked about this. To me, they seem to be the worst at providing news for us. But now we got a little bit of McFarlane. And McFarlane, this guy, as I mentioned, he is not going quietly when it comes to this DC line. He wants to keep this going. This guy is going to be putting out Spawn with bat ears for years, I believe. So we get some superpowers that are based off of the new Superman movie, which this may be good. But as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to DC, they need to prove to me they can make a good movie. I don't think that they really make too many good movies. Some of them are decent. I have no hope for this Batman or for the Superman movie. It doesn't look really good to me, but I'm willing to go in with an open mind, and hopefully it ends up better than Aquaman. Although the first Aquaman was so good that Olivia and I just had a blast making fun of it. Anyway, daiquiris. Yeah, well, I don't drink, so, and that word is really confusing. And Blast though jumped in here saying hello. Isn't that who the hell is Black Snow? It looks like the five-time WCW champion Booker T. So anyway, this is one of like the weirdest looking figures. I don't know anything about it, but good for them for making sure diversity is covered in all one whole character. I don't know. Cobra Commander says they have virgin daiquiris for you, punk. I know. But I feel like they got diversity all in one character. Now we'll just move on. Yeah, he's old school, but I have no idea anything about him. But here you can kind of look at him, and I love the fact that when Todd does like his art of the character, he doesn't even try and make it look like the actual toy that he's doing. Like that looks nothing like the toy. But that's Todd for you. And Rowdy's saying, I think Superman will be good. Again, I hope it is. I just don't have any faith. And I'm not a huge James Gunn fan. I think Guardians of the Galaxy is overrated. I know people don't like to hear that. I did like his the John Cena series, but yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of him. But again, I will go with an open mind. I don't have any problem with that. So here we have Guy Gardner with one of the worst hairdos ever known to mankind. I don't know how. There's no other way to put it. This has nothing to do with the character. This has nothing to do with the figure. Somewhere along the line, the bowl cut was invented, and no one had the guts to tell their wives or their moms, this looks dumb. I don't know when the mullet looked good, but at some point, people believed the mullet looked good. There is no way in hell anyone ever thought the bowl cut looked good. I fully believe that. I will go to my grave on that. Bobby Wolf says that looks like the poster for Supercuts. Because he's a Green Lantern. That's how. And Guy Gardner is easier to remember. Although I don't like the suit, but this is an easy repaint when it comes to this guy. And yeah, I totally blanked on his name too. And right now KJ is probably yelling at me if he's watching, going, "How do you not know who this guy is?" Mr. Terrific. That's it. It's literally on his it's on his arm. I think this character actually looks pretty good in the movie, from what I've seen. I like the suit and the way everything does look. When it comes to Superman, I think some of the biggest problems with Superman is, even though I don't watch the Superman and Lois show, that guy is perfect for Superman. He looks amazing. They've had really good Supermen, and it's like you keep doing it when you already have a good one. It's kind of like why the Flash failed, right? Well, there's a lot of reasons why the Flash failed, but they had a perfect one in Gus, whatever his name is. But anyway, I doubt these. I don't know if these would be dollar store. They get clearance on Walmart fast enough. But the best thing about these is Grant Gustinson. Thank you. And he was the perfect Flash. I mean, and the guy loved playing it. I liked the whole Flash series. Well, I liked most of it. I think most series, when they get in like that 6th, 7th, 8th season, you really start to fade. Now, I'm not a superpowers fan, Jeff, but the best thing about them is they're $10. They have more articulation than the reaction figures. They actually give them some vehicles that are affordable. This is one of those things where, if you have kids, they see Superman or Batman, right? Mom and dad can buy it for them to shut them up, right? And maybe this gets them into superheroes. So even though I'm not into this, they do nothing for me. There is such a big market for a $10 figure that is big enough to stand and kind of be, thrown around and stuff. And again, I think that's what makes these really good. And when I see the little Marvel ones, they seem too small. They're harder for like kids to pose and play with. And again, I don't know why O-rings didn't feel like that, but these ones here, again, I think they nailed it. And then we have Superman. And is there any difference in the Superman other than the S? It's the exact same buck that he's used before. I think the head might be a little different. Like I said, I don't follow them enough to say, but it's there. It's another Superman. And again, you're doing a Superman line. You better have Superman. And then here's his cape. Again, I'm going to scream about this. If Todd can give you soft goods cape on almost everything, Marvel Legends, you can too. And I'm not a big fan, or I don't like having to compare different companies, but McFarlane is like as cheap as they come, but he constantly does these really good capes. And it's like, Marvel Legends, come on. You're already charging more than the other ones for the most part and giving a lot less. Give them what everyone wants. And then quickly, G.I. Jetman says the S is ugly. I think I agree with the whole thing. I'm not a big fan of that. I don't like that S on Superman. And Moodalock says, I wish the damn Reaction Plus new G.I. Joes were $10. $20 is just too much. Okay, so this is what I have to say about that. I don't think that $20 for the reaction figures is actually too much. Would I rather them be around 15? Yes. What a $20 reaction plus figure tells me is that your regular reaction 5 POA, you just told everyone we are overcharging you. You proved everyone's point that they're too expensive. But yeah, because there is more construction that's put into it. And again, Super 7 is a bigger company, but they're also not a big company. The reaction figure should not be that at all. So here we have the Superman's Ice Palace. I can't think of it. His Camp Crystal Lake. Again, do this on your own. You forget shit. I can say I'm going to assume that this is going to be used for a lot of different things. People are going to buy this and use it for different, for different backgrounds. But you have all these Fortress of Solitude. Thank you very much. I actually do know that, but hey, Jeff, get up here and do something for 3 hours alone. And you forget shit that you know. And I know the Fortress of Solitude, believe me. But, this is actually pretty cool, and I think Todd does a really good job. He creates these very inexpensive backgrounds, little play sets that I see people use for all different things, whether it be Batman, the animated series, or not the animated series, Batman 66, stuff like that. So I have a feeling that there will be a lot of people that buy this for their 118, 118 scale stuff. And I can also see people using it for 112 scale for whatever they want. All right. So there you have his little chair, his little supercomputer, his lights that people know if someone's broken. Now, we see this little robot here, but I don't see it. It says figure sold separately. Now, they haven't shown off this figure here, and he's not on the box, so I don't see that it's coming with this. Now, Todd does have a tendency at times to put something that's an exclusive that has something that the other ones don't. So I guess we'll see. Clearly, that figure is being made. If I'm correct, I think when I was actually watching Geek Dead Life, they were talking about it and said that there was something in it that said that there's like 6 figures, but they can't announce who the other 2 are. Entertainment Earth has something. Well, Jeff, here's the whole thing. They don't show the robot at all. That's why, because it doesn't show the robot at all. Graph, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that it might be the Amazon exclusive. G.I. Jetman, okay. I want to agree with you that Melissa Benoist might be the best Supergirl, but the one girl that played it in Smallville, even though she technically wasn't Supergirl, was also smoking hot and looked really, 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 really hot. She looks so cute in that outfit. But I would probably go with you. Black Snow says the robot comes with the Amazon Gold Label Fortress of Solitude. Okay, thank you very much. And again, it's leave it to Todd not to really tell you. But then again, I could probably do more research, but I got other things going on in my life. All right. So here it is on the back. It does show you. But yeah, so get the Amazon exclusive. I'll post a link when it comes up because I know people are going to want this. I know people really like the superpowers. Like I said, very cheap. Now, what is interesting about this is this looks like he has a good amount of articulation. Oh, wait, that's because this is the sorry. I had that there. This is actually the 7-inch one, but they don't show this anywhere else. So it does look like we're going to be getting a 7-inch version of the robot. So I'm sure people will love that because they can use it for all kinds of things. Here we have Mr. Terrific in his Fair Play. Man, are there no pins there? Where are my pins at? Does it look like there's no pins? Because those pins should be messing up his fair play. Am I missing it? And we have Woody 222 jumping in here saying, "What up, everyone? Wifey happy, and now it's toy time." So there's Mr. Terrific, and someone tell me, is there pins on this fucking figure? I mean, there's pins on this one. So here we have our Alfred from one of the Batman. I'm sorry, the Bat Flick Alfred. You can also buy this guy and use him for your what is it, Die Hard 3, which is still one of the. I still love Die Hard 3. Probably my favorite Die Hard. Just Jeff says there are no pins in the Superman movie line. They also are a bit more expensive. Wow, I didn't even know that. Wow, wait for him to finally get into the pin list. I mean, that guy acted like he didn't know what that was, but we're gonna see some of it. I didn't realize that. So here's Jeremy Irons, a nice soft goods apron, some nice tools that would really go good with your clutch and cover girl. Different hands. This figure actually looks really good. Todd seems to be doing a pretty damn good job right now with some of these face sculpts. Again, I don't know why. They'll go back to pins after this wave. Again, I know people get mad at me, but good Lord, those things are just huge. Oh, Baldylock says, Jeremy Irons, that's not Scar. We watched Mufasa this weekend. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad, and it explained some stuff. We had some questions on it, but I didn't hate it, and I love the Lion King. So I didn't hate Mufasa. All right. So anyway, there's your Alfred Pennyworth. There he is again. There's the back of him. Why do I have so many pictures of him? Rowdy, 7 inches of Alfred every day. Wow. Sometimes there's TMI there, Rowdy. You got to keep some things a secret for when you show up on Thursday with a friend, right? Don't give everything away. So here's the Superman line, and now look, there's pins right here. So you're incorrect, Just Jeff. Look at those. I can see those pins from a mile away without binoculars. In a ugly purple suit that looks like he could just slap a Joker head on him and he'd be a Joker. This face sculpt, yeah, it looks nothing. I don't see it. Here we have his kaiju, where for some odd reason when he makes these bigger figures, man, I don't get it. It's the Ozempic Kingpin. Oh my god, that is that's funny, Woody. It does look like him. Yeah, so this guy he really is 3POA, man. He really is 3POA. Oh my gosh. Well, no, it'd be 4 because it looks like his head turns. So he's actually 4 POA. I would assume. And And he's got a big tail. I don't get some of this. So, see, but this is what's crazy, Rowdy, is that when you say, Todd would never innovate, he did. That's what just shocks me. Again, I'm not sure if you were born yet, but when those Spawn figures first came out, the Violator and the Clown and obviously Spawn and Meathead Spawn or Hamburger Head Spawn, like he had innovated the sculpts, and that is what fucking drives me nuts. That I just don't get, like, why? Like it blows my mind. So, anyway, this thing looks like trash, but if you want it, go get it. Here is our whatever his name is, the ugly guy with well, Todd always uses the diaphragm cut. This one doesn't look bad at all, although he looks like he has like half his nerds. Like all the purple looks like the nerds candy, but this guy, yeah, he is hitting like every. He's hitting the total woke. He can hit every culture that needs to be. So, but if you want it, go get it. Hey Tony, there's the shorts that you need for what's his name? Shepard? No, not Shepard. Leonidas. You needed shorts. There you go. There's shorts for Leonidas for your custom of Delta 17. So I don't know if there's any difference between this Superman and the deluxe Superman with the actual figure. So this is the regular figure. He has a big C grip. Maybe he's got a big giant schlong down there. I don't know. He just has really baggy shorts. You're only buying it for the shorts. Dude, Woody, I have made that comment every time I have to open something that is like that. I just opened up a carbon monoxide detector, the exact same thing. But those McFarlane ones, yeah, they were. That's something that should have been in like a Saw movie, where like that's one of the tests. They had to get a figure out, and by the time they're done, their hands are all cut up, and there's like alcohol dripping on it, like rubbing alcohol. Oh my god, dude, those things, yeah, absolutely awful. So anyway, here's a Superman. This is the non-deluxe one. Plastic cape. You got the S on the back here. It doesn't look like the actor. I don't, at least in my opinion. Maybe you guys see it. I mean, I don't think it looks bad, but it doesn't look like the actor. Brick, great. I'm glad that you were able to jump in. Have a great night. I know you got work in the morning. Teach those little kids. Teach them something good, because kids don't get taught right. But I don't think this figure looks bad. All right, he looks like for the most part what the movie's going to look like, but the head sculpt is, again, not bad, just doesn't really look like him. Here he is flying away, big pins in the leg, can't miss them. I know Tony says, I love pins. They make it easy, but they look awful, especially when they're giant. Here's your regular one, and then here is your deluxe Superman. I don't see any difference. The head sculpt I know is different, because you can see there's 3 different face plates. I don't know if it's 3 or 4 different face plates. You have his flying hands, and then you have your Crypto, which he's just eats a statue. He looks cool. I'll give him that. He looks, yeah, but Tony, we've talked about it. I know pins don't bother you. It's just the pins are huge. They're just huge. So it looks like he has a soft good cape. So I guess that's the big difference, right? Him and Crypto both have soft good capes. So unless if you're a little kid, buy the deluxe version if this is what you want. And Jeff, look, there's pins. So I don't know if you were fucking with me or what, but major pins. So here's how the deluxe box comes. Again, I would spend the extra money on this just to get a little crypto dog, and to get the soft goods cape. So Rowdy says McFarlane are kids' toys, in my opinion. Nothing of that quality is made for adults. I would agree with you. I would agree with you that, I mean, the way that he puts stuff out there, he's talked about it. You know, people try and say, I know people don't, I know people don't like Todd. You know, Todd never said that a female figure won't sell. He said I couldn't do a female wave of figures. People ran with it and they took things out of context. He never said that female figures won't sell. He said he couldn't do a full wave of female figures, which made people think that he's sexist, which is not what he was saying at all. But I agree with him that if he would have put out a full wave of female figures, it's probably going to sit on those shelves not doing very well, because he knows that making Batman, Superman figures, they'll sell. That's why we always see him. And he's often talked about how produce more, sell less. You make less per figure, but in the end, you make more because you've produced more. But I agree. But he also knows that there is a huge. He goes to the conventions, so he is selling to adults too. So it's kind of a tit for tat, right? He says, I don't know if I'd say they're for. I don't know if I'd say they're kids' toys. They are too big, crappy articulations. They look like they belong on shelves. I disagree. When it comes to kids, again, a lot of kids, especially younger kids, they see Superman. The parents don't want a really small figure. The kids don't want a small figure. They want a big figure that they can run around with. And when you're looking at, like, he doesn't update his articulation. You look at Classified and Marvel Legends, like, these guys actually do upgrade it. And even though they make it for 4+, they are constantly trying to make it better, better articulation for the adults. So, but there you go. There's your crypto and everything. Well, and again, when it comes to the Spawn figures, they are definitely in. They're in the collectible section, and those I again, like, yeah, he is selling those to young adults or now adults. And Rowdy, I was not saying that female figures won't sell well. I was saying that doing a full way, because he is trying to sell to kids. And you're absolutely right. People are so asking for Black Canary and Zatanna. But again, if you put out a wave of Supergirl, Batgirl, Black Canary, and Zatanna, right? A 4-way figure, and you walk down the aisle and those things were sitting there, they would be clogging the pegs. The people don't want to admit it. Sometimes people don't want to. Sometimes people don't want to say what they know is true, but they would be sitting there collecting dust, just clogging the pegs. Batman will sell, and it has nothing to do with a boy that won't play with a Supergirl or a Batgirl. But man, they're gonna want that Batman and Superman more than a Supergirl and a Batgirl. First, once they have that, then yeah. So, just my opinion. But I mean, it might make me sound like the bad guy, which is fine, because tomorrow our topic is, what is it? Girls icky. Female figures are icky and ruin doll collecting. um, Rowdy says you can like your McFarlane. McFarlane just realize he doesn't have you in mind unless you charge, unless he can charge you 30 bucks. I don't. I guess I'm not following you on that because he keeps his figures under $30, and I'll say it again. Like, these companies, they don't care about us. They care about themselves and lining their pockets. Anyway, that's all from McFarlane, which is actually pretty cool. Yeah, you know, you have a right. Yeah, you have a point. He does. Again, it's one of those things where Hasbro does the same thing. Where Hasbro does the same thing. They act like they're marketing just to kids, or they act like they're marketing to the kids, but then they're doing all this stuff for collectors. So again, these are big businesses, corporations, and they care about themselves. I don't. I think that's safe to say, right? I don't have slides for this, but I'm going to present this really quick because there was a Star Wars celebration. I do think some of these are kind of worth noting and talking, but I did not do slides for them. So let me share this screen quickly, and we're just going to kind of look at some of the Star Wars stuff. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. So not everything is for collectors, but I do want to say I saw these lightsabers here that have different crystals, and I didn't read about them, but I do think this is actually pretty cool, giving you different crystals. So I believe you can change the color of your lightsabers. Now, I know everyone says Hasbro should dump the Star Wars line. It doesn't make them money. Remember, they don't just sell to adults. Matter of fact, the majority of stuff they're selling is to kids, and they make kid stuff like this, right? So I think, to me, this is actually pretty cool stuff. But yeah, you're gonna get different lightsabers. Again, I didn't read too much on it. I just happened to see it as I was looking at like Calcesta, and I don't know anything about the books. I know the name Calcesta. I also don't know why he has a mullet and a 6-shooter. Is there something in the Star Wars line that I don't know about here? And Rowdy says would have killed for that as a wheel. You know what? I think we all would have. You know, I mean, again, my generation, the lightsabers we had were the ones that when you whip them really fast, they made that noise. And when you accidentally hit your friend, it really hurt. I'm sure 3-star remembers. Oh my gosh. If you don't know what this line is from, then shame on you. You probably never worked in an office. But Darren, you have nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. It does look like that. Anyway, here's Calcesta. He comes with a giant frog. Grogu will probably try and eat him with some weird eyes and a 6-shooter. This guy, a slug. I really have no idea about this. Mikkel Ohm says Jedi Survivor. Yeah, I don't realize there's like, because we've seen the space AK-47. Now I'm seeing a space 6-shooter. I have no interest for it. Here I don't. Again, I know nothing about this, but if you're interested, I'm glad they're making it for you, because crazy or not, Not everything is made for me or you. It's made for everyone. So, and Darren, I cannot not see it now. And if you don't know the Two Chicks at Once, go watch Office Space. But I can't not see it now. We have a Chewbacca with his bowcaster. And for some reason, I can't scroll. So, where the hell are my little arrows at? There we go. A Chewbacca with his bowcaster, which does look pretty good. You get him in a running pose. Don't care about this. Everyone sees this type of stuff. No one cares. I don't think people cosplay, right? Do people cosplay? But this is the one that I found interesting. And that was Dash Rendar. Jedi in the front, smuggler in the back. Oh my god. So I really like Shadows of the Empire. I can't believe it's taken this long, and I think people should have known a Dash Rendar was coming when we saw the Shizor come. This is a really good looking figure. I do not collect Black Series, like Russell Lemieux saying Dash, and he's dashing looking, right? This is something that I think people have wanted. And again, I think they really, really nailed it with this. So, if you've been waiting for a Dash Rendar Shadows of the Empire in your Black Series, well, guess what? I think you're finally going to get it. And if this is what it comes out looking like, I think that I think you're going to be happy because I can't really seem to see too many issues other than the single jointed elbows still, like, and they're small. But and look, he even has the purple background. So I think that's how people saw Dash Rendar, the bargain Han Solo, when that book first came out. But I think over the years, he that book and Dash Rendar has become someone people really like. But you're absolutely right. He was the Ollie's version of Han Solo. Dash almost looks like Cable, those shoulder. You're not wrong. Matthew, you are not wrong at all. Even more so. Even more so if you grab the X-Man, Nate Gray. Definitely. So that's what Cable should look like. Like that's kind of crazy. But yeah. Baldy says Dash looks pretty good like Kurt Russell with a bit of human Shrek. Where did you get Shrek from? But here you have another Han Solo. I'm not sure if they really caught the likeness of this. They kind of caught the poofy hair, but I definitely would not say that looks like Harrison Ford, right? I don't think that looks like. I don't think that really looks like Harrison Ford, but it's there if you need it. We got Legend series jumping in here, and did I miss Toy Matrix? AKA wait, is McCall Ohm Toy Matrix? Is that what you're saying? All right. So new Han Solo. I'm sure people will bitch about it, but You know, you need Han Solo, you need Chewbacca. That's how it goes. Rick D showing jumping in here saying, I'm more excited about Shadows of the Empire than any other Star Wars item that Hasbro is putting out. I think what's really good about it, and again, I don't really collect Star Wars. I watch it, you know, from afar, is that if you've been a collector for quite some time, you have maybe a good Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, and all those figures, Darth Vader, that you already have good ones. Giving the Shadows of the Empire like Shizor, which I thought looked amazing. I think that Dash Rendar looks really good. You're getting something new and something that, you know, again, Han Solo is still going to sell more. But if you've been a collector and been in this for quite some time, you're going to be happy with something like that. So, again, I would be with you. And again, I always love the purple background like that. With the Shadows of the Empire cards from the Power of the Force line. So now we have from this Night Sister Mirren. I know nothing about her. I know that she's getting 2 different figures. That's that is what I do know, that she's getting 2 different figures. And oops. That if it's something you want, then awesome. You can get it. Again, you don't have to buy everything that they produce. So this here, I understand what they're doing. I think this Samurai Sith or whatever he is looks absolutely awesome. And the droid is, it's almost like, let's just jack it up. We'll use a mold. We can throw that on there. And here you go. A matter of fact, I'm looking at it almost, I know it's not, but it almost looks like that is Gambit's staff. But the black and white is awesome. And then with the red lightsaber, I think it just really does pop. So this is an awesome looking figure. I don't think too many people will disagree with that. The price of it being a 2-pack is definitely going to piss people off. But I think that this figure is so good that people are going to pay it. We've already seen people paying it. So in Soft Goods Cape, which looks like it has a wire in it so it can move around. I mean, everything that I've seen, every shot that I've seen of this figure, it looks awesome. But and then we got the vintage collection. Now, we had a nice little talk about what George Lucas probably wishes he could have, take back. And I was watching a reel. We talked about this on Oz's stream on Saturday. It just came up where in A New Hope, when they see the Jawa sand crawler had been attacked, and he said these blast points are too accurate for sand people. Only the Imperial can do this. The Imperial Stormtrooper. And then he showed R2D2 and C3PO walking through the hallway when stormtroopers can't hit them. And then they showed pod racing where the sand people pegging off the pod racers that are doing like 200 miles an hour. So, some things he probably wishes he could have back. But this is awesome. I mean, that wig that's on this Bantha, I mean, this is something I really wish when I was collecting Star Wars back in the mid 90s and late 90s, this is something I wish they would have had, at least that I had the funds for it, like I do now, if I wanted it. Rowdy says, I'm very, very picky about what Black Series I get. This fits with nothing. Samurai Sith. No, but it looks awesome. And sometimes you just have to buy things you think are, I'm not buying it. But I'll tell you what, like if someone said, hey, do you want this? I'd be like, I'd find a place on my shelf for it. Or if I was a big samurai fan, I'd love it. I think it would look awesome. But this bantha is awesome looking. It looks like those dogs that have too much fur, so they can't see. So, and a good sand person, you can actually ride on it. I think their vintage collection is probably their best line, in my opinion. For all the vehicles and all the different things that you can use for Star Wars, the vintage line, I think, nails everything. Hey, look at this. Mr. Wonderful showing. Did I make it in time? Did you make it in time for what? I mean, did Monday Night Raw finish? Did the disappointment that is wrestling today, did it finish for you? So anyway, if you want the bantha, this is the stuff that I love, man. I talked about this a couple weeks ago. If you are of my age, I'll be 50 at the end of this year, born in 75. If you grew up with Star Wars, when you see this packaging, they nail it. Just like the G.I. Joe, but I think the Star Wars packaging to me is even, it brings me back to a place even more than G.I. Joe's. And maybe because I've seen G.I. Joe so much. But man, when I see this stuff, I love that they recreated it. And they just did a really good job. So here we have the guy from Justified, Timothy Oliphant. If you've never watched the TV series Justified, do yourself a favor and go and watch it. If you watch Deadwood, he pretty much plays almost the exact same character, but I think Justified's better because Timothy Oliphant is awesome. Yes, the Marshal again, Christ. But yeah. Now I know we've had a few of these figures. We had him as Boba Fett. I think we had him like this in Black Series. It's hard for me to keep. I do think this looks pretty good though. And again, Timothy Oliphant is really a. I mean, you know him when you see him, unless you think it's Josh Duhamel. Because I didn't realize how much they look alike till I watched a reel, and then I just watched a TV show with Josh Duhamel. But anyway, there is your Marshal. Is that what he goes by? No, Cobb Vanth. All right. And let's see here. Oh, we got another droid. Not droid. This ain't the droids. These are the clones from the Bad Batch. I'm pretty... I'll tell you what, man. They're getting pretty lazy with their weapons. They're just making, like, regular weapons and trying to make them lasers. Because that looks like a real-life sniper weapon. A real nice sniper rifle that they just kind of laserfied. So, but there you go. I just kind of wanted to go over some of these Star Wars things here. So that's Crosshair. And now you're going to get another. No, this is what's his name? Moff Gideon as basically a dark trooper. So they took their sweet old time kind of showing some of the stuff, so I didn't get it into the files. So here's the Black Series girl that I was talking about. They tend to do the same thing where they kind of, a lot of times when they do a new Black Series, they'll also do a vintage series figure because I don't know, maybe they're just kind of shrinking down the mold, but yeah. But if you need this, you collect the vintage series. I'm not sure how many people other than Chaz the Guru is collecting this stuff. There you go. And then we have a stormtrooper with a big bazooka. Again, I swear they're not even trying. And this is not a Hasbro thing. This is a Star Wars thing. There's this is a bazooka, right? This is just a bazooka. That other one was the an actual sniper rifle. We've seen the laser AK. Yeah. Bobby Wold says probably the only person that ever died in Star Wars was Tech. Seems like everyone else has returned. Well, that's how Marvel is now too, right? Even people that die seem to come back. They just had bazookas. It pretty much does look like his. All right. So anyway, that's enough of that. That's your Star Wars stuff. I spent more time on Star Wars. There was so much because it was Star Wars Celebration. I tried watching Star Wars Celebration. I saw some of the stuff, and I gotta say, man, it looks depressing. And this is why I thought Star Wars Celebration, like the stuff that I saw, why I think it looks depressing. And that is, you're seeing the actors they have there. And again, the actors are of the TV series and the movies that have recently come out. But there's no love for them. Not like when you would see Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford and all of them. Ewan McGregor was there. I saw him sign a hat, which I thought it was cool that he signed the high ground. Hayden Christensen. Do people forget that Anakin was turned into Darth Vader, and they're trying to cram Hayden Christensen down? Also, watch some of the footage of Hayden Christensen and someone tell me when he turned into Bo Duke, because he looks like Bo Duke. Same hair, his facial features look like that. It's really, really weird. And I actually mentioned in my mod chat, I actually posted a video. And I was like, when did Darth Vader become when did he become Bo Duke? But it looks sad. It looks depressing. It was weird seeing interviews with both Ahsokas, and I'm going, why didn't they just have the first Ahsoka play like the voice actress? She fits Ahsoka. She's young enough. And then I hear who played Ahsoka. I forget what her name is. Hey, ICT Vinny, like seriously, do you know what I'm talking about? Because there's like a little clip of him like walking, and he looks like fucking Bo Duke. It is eerie. But anyway, they have the girl that's playing Ahsoka, and her hair, it looks like it's a bad hair job, dye job for one thing. I like her as an actress. I hate her as Ahsoka. Rosario Dawson, thank you very much, Prophet. I hate her as Ahsoka. And I know Matthew and I talked about this. She looks so unathletic, which really shocked me. The fight scenes were absolutely awful. Whoa. Don't get me wrong, I like Luke Duke more too. All right. But he's still one of the Duke boys. And he was Superman's dad in Smallville. And in my opinion, probably the best of all the Superman dads. Especially better than Kevin Costner. But I don't know. It's just Star Wars Celebration. It looks sad. It looks sad. Yes.
I brought up water for Sheldon. I don't know if he'll drink it though, because it's not plastic. But
okay. Well, why are you telling me?
I don't know, because he went downstairs and whined.
Well,
I'm gonna go get him.
Well, he needs to go out before you.
I did just let him out.
Okay.
But need some water.
All right. Okay.
It was like this last time. I don't know if he'll drink it because he's a baby.
I can't speak for that because I've never seen anything that I don't like about him. But yes, Bo and Luke are better than Coy and Vance. Just like the guy that replaced John from Chips when his cousin came in to be Ponch's new partner when he was holding out. Yeah, I agree. I honestly I don't know anything about I don't know anything about John Schneider. I've never seen anything that makes me think that I don't like him. But I also have not seen everything about him. And I also know there are some things that people won't like about something because they don't like their political views or different things like that. And I don't know if that's what it is because I really, again, don't know anything about him. Russell, Ray Stevens, I agree with you. He was the saving grace. I didn't even hate Ahsoka per se. It got to be really bad in certain aspects of it. But Ray Stevens was the shining light of it. I will give you that. But anyway, on to a little higher here. Now we recently had a talk last couple episodes about Haya that sometimes they nail the face sculpt.
He's hiding.
Okay.
I'm not going back downstairs to get him. If he goes down.
Well, it would help me out if you do, because then I have to deal with them.
Sheldon?
Yes.
If I'm awake, maybe.
We'll just take him up in your bed.
Okay, I put him on my bed and he immediately walked out.
Okay. Anyway, we recently talked about Haya, and some of their head sculpts, some of their sculpts are amazing. None of the G.I. Joes are, which I don't even understand because all I have to do is copy what Lenny's already done. And sometimes their 1/18th looks really good. Other times it looks awful. Sometimes the 1/12th looks really good. Sometimes it looks awful. These Walking Dead ones, I think they nail it. This thing looks really good. And the best thing about this is if you want to spend the hefty price, which I think these are about $70 or $80, you can fit it in with your G.I. Joes. You can fit it in with your Marvel Legends. It doesn't have to be The Walking Dead, especially not with this mask. So I think this looks really good. And more than anything, it does look like Rick Grimes. It looks like him from the actual show. So now I didn't watch the show. I was really excited to watch this whole Rick Grimes thing, but then when you make me wait like 15 years, and I remember I think that when he left The Walking Dead, my kids weren't even born, and one's almost 19. I'm being a little dramatic here, but I think you guys can get that. And Jody Graves, I don't like talking politics. It's kind of something that I think you may be right on, but again, I don't care. Just like I don't care that I don't care that Tom Cruise is a fucking nut job with Scientology. He makes damn good movies. Also, the Coin Vance are Meagle-like. Dude, they are. You know, Joe, I never thought about it, but I'm thinking how Coin Vance looked in the show, and their faces look like Meagle. Their faces do look like Meagles. All right. Anyway, I don't know if this weapon is out of scale. It looks like it's fairly large for what I believe should be some sort of M4 platform. Now I understand it has this big, trident on the front, but it looks like it's maybe just too big. But again, I think they really actually nailed it with the suit. I think it was Robo that I was listening to, and for the most part, I feel like soft goods are hard to do. They really are. Sometimes you see them really good with the Mezco, and other times not so much. And most of the stuff we've seen with Haya, they seem too big, but I think this one actually looks really good. So if you wanted to get this, put it with your, G.I. Joe Mezcos. I think it would fit pretty good. It's 6.2 inches. But because of the masks, you can easily hide who he is. I have a hard time taking a head sculpt of an actual actor and putting it in my display if it's supposed to be just a generic figure. That's just me. Unless they do such a bad job that it doesn't look like them. Kiwi GI Customs, who was my most recent guest on Thursday with a friend. Check it out. Thank you. I had a great time. Total great time with you. Anyway, so this is your Haya talk. Well, actually, there's a little more Haya, but I stuffed it in the G.I. Joe section. Whew. Take another break real quick. I think when it comes to the Dukes of Hazzard figs and the General Lee, it would have to be someone. It'd have to be a company that knows they're not doing a line, that they're doing characters of shows, which I think could be a line in itself. Where if you found someone that's willing to do, all right, well, you know what, we're going to do, Boss Hog, Boss Hog and Roscoe, maybe Enos. Do Enos before you do Cletus. You obviously can do Daisy and Luke Duke, Uncle Jesse. Maybe do her Jeep. Obviously the General Lee. Maybe a beat up tow truck for Cooter. But then you have that, but then you're like, we're also gonna do the A-team. But with the A-team, we're also gonna do the 4 A-team guys. We're gonna do a van. I think you have to do Colonel Decker. Do not do General Stockwell or the other fifth guy they brought in that last season. Oh, I hated that guy. And then maybe do Starsky and Hutch, even though I'm not a Starsky and Hutch guy. You do Airwolf, but you really can't build an Airwolf. I think that's the only way you can really do that. But I would love to see it, because I would definitely buy an A-team. I would definitely buy that. Yeah. So Joe Ramen had the Duke had the General Flag option, and the problem with that, and I think the same problem when it comes to the same problem that you have with the General Lee, and the same problem that you have with the A-team van, is that no one is making those actual characters for it. And I don't want a General Lee unless I'm getting, I wouldn't buy it anyway, but if I'm getting Bo and Luke Duke, I don't really want an A-team van unless if I have, the A-team members. I don't want a Starsky and Hutch unless I'm getting Starsky and Hutch. Now, I don't really collect them, so it doesn't even matter. But I think you understand what I'm saying. So, and Andrew Taylor's right. Problem is, all the likenesses rights have to be negotiated individually. There were no global contracts back then. Yeah, you're right. It would be really hard, and that's why Ramen can get away with it. And that's kind of the stuff that Ace does. except when he tries to do a Tom Cruise head, and Tom Cruise's lawyers get wind of it. I'm assuming that's what happened, because they ain't gonna win against Tom Cruise. Jay Solo R's jumping in here saying the greatest American hero. See, that's another one where I'm surprised NECA. I could see NECA doing a greatest American hero. I could definitely see, look, and Cooter's Garage shows up. JMA Customs can make you a a 1/12 bow and loop. Well, a lot of people can, and again, I'm not looking for it. Other people are. Russell, yeah, 80s toy line. I think that would be really awesome. I think like everyone that done. I think everyone that does Toy Tube has at some point kind of talked about, hey, what would you like to have? But to see somebody actually do it, and NECA's like NECA's like the main one to do it, in my opinion. But they leave so much in many ways, again, a lot of people want a 6-inch, not 7-inch, and better articulation and better feeling plastic when it comes to stuff like that. So Richard Sampson jumping in here also. Anyway, whew. And Jody Graves says, I've always said between Tarzan, the Lone Ranger, Zorro, and a host of Hanna-Barbera properties, there are amazing opportunities, especially in my age bracket. Yeah, I'm with you. I've actually talked to Tony's Figs, and I would probably, if you gave me a good representation of the Lone Ranger, his horse Silver, what wasn't that his horse Silver? And then Tonto and whatever his horse, I would probably pick them up. I mean, I wouldn't be looking for everyone else, but that, I've told the story before. The first time I saw a G.I. Joe commercial, I was sitting on the floor and I had, my Snow Speeder and Star Wars, and I also had my Lone Ranger and Tonto and their horses. And that's what I was playing with the first time that I saw. And I still have those Lone Rangers and Tontos.
I just let him out, so he is whining for attention.
Yeah, lay down, buddy. You want to say hi to everyone? Here, come up here, say hi. Look, say hi. Right there. Now, Barkle. Ruff, ruff, ruff. Really? Oh, I sound like an idiot now.
It's because he's not a pit bull. He is an American.
You gonna bark? Bark. Look, right there. Everyone is waiting for you.
No, he's good.
All right, get out of here. Come on, lay down. Lay down in your beanbag chair. That was once Olivia's.
He hasn't been in my room for like 2 days straight.
Well, that's because you've had Sheldon.
Oh.
And look, Roman, you're getting love from everyone. Scout was Tonto's horse. Yes, I always forget it for some reason, and I don't have the horses anymore. But I still do have my original Lone Ranger and Tonto. I do not have the 6-shooters though, or Tonto had a knife too. He had one 6-shooter and a knife. There was no stereotyping with Tonto. No stereotyping. And Roman's getting all this love. I don't get this much love, but Roman does. 3-star. And then we have Pop Blender jumping in here saying, in a Wailing Jennings voice, them Duke boys would have made that jump, and those dang protesters had him mucked it all up.
I was going to ask if you had a brush in here.
Yeah, I don't have a brush for many reasons. All right. On to some Marvel Legends here. Not very much, but this did go up, and this is the Frank Castle from the Netflix show. Just Jeff, I'm going to ask you from refraining saying how much you hated the Netflix Daredevil show, as I actually enjoyed it. But Frank Castle, I think the head sculpt looks good. I think the hair looks pretty right. But I think they made the forehead maybe just a little too big. And maybe that's why he doesn't look right. But yeah, I like this, and I actually did order it. So, but again, like I can see Frank. I mean, I can see the actor in it, but something isn't right. And yeah, I think it's the forehead is just too big. But if you if you lower it, like that looks like John Berthal. So, but yeah, there's I like it, and I do like the way that they did the I like the way that they did the Punisher skull in it. So, but again, if you don't want it, then you don't have to buy it. It's actually pretty simple. Kind of cool how that goes. But that was it. That went up, and it went up and was gone. Delta 17 says his accessories are a bit dull. He needs more guns. And I think one of the things, like someone kind of mentioned, all these look like digital renders. And I think someone was like, they were wondering out loud if maybe, just maybe, they kind of not threw it together, but couldn't have one done because they hadn't seen the show yet. So, but Marvel seems to be better than Disney. Disney is the one that's always made things really difficult, right? But yeah. It looks like he only comes with the one pistol. Actually, I thought I had. He comes with a pistol, the axe, and a knife, I believe. I thought that I had the shot of everything, but I guess I don't. So, but that's it. That's all the Marvel Legends for this week. But yeah, if you like it, if you like the show, if you like the Daredevil, pick it up. I think that actually works pretty good. Only use Valaverse guns if you like small magazines, tiny magazines. I'm sorry, you can't unsee the tiny magazines once they're pointed out to you. All right, Four Horsemen, they dropped a figure obscura, and it's an elephant. I don't know what his name is. I ordered him because as I kind of went back and forth arguing with myself on whether or not I wanted this, I couldn't get over the little seat, the accessories. Literally, like, hey, look, he has bananas and stuff. That he can sit on it with his leg crossed. Genosha. Yes. Well. And here's everything that he does come with. $70. He's on the brute scale, I believe. The one thing about most of these figure obscura is that the accessories that they give you can be used in so many different displays. And just in general, being able to use something like this, if you want to do photography, if you just want a nice display. Hell, I can't say I bought it. The only reason why I bought the Ghost of Christmas Past was because of it was a Ghost of Future Present. I forget which one it is. It's the one with the lamppost. Everybody wanted the lamppost. And the lamppost is awesome. But these things almost always keep their value, if not go up. So it's one of those things where, hey, you know what? You pick it up. If you decide that you don't want it later on, you're still going to get your monies back for it. But I love the accessories. All the soft goods, the detail, the paint, the sculpting is it's second to none. It really. I'll say it again, and I know some people think that you're a shill, if you say something's good, but when it comes to the Four Horsemen stuff, it's awesome. If you argue with yourself over it, you don't really want it. No, I disagree. Sometimes you argue with yourself because you don't want to spend the money. You really want it, but you don't want to spend the money. So I disagree with you on that one. Maybe if you're talking about arguing with yourself if you don't want to go on a date with somebody. But I don't think so when it comes to toys or buying stuff. But anyway, here you go. Ganesha, whatever you want to say. I don't know. I really do have a thing for these things. So well, we know you are there. Getting free stuff, getting paid from them. So, and then again, wonderful photography. He has a rat. Does he actually have a rat? I forget if he has a rat with him. I know I looked at this before. Yeah, so he has a rat. So now I can have 2 rats, one to go with. What is Tripwire's rat's name, guys? Or maybe if you lost Tripwire's rat, I just bought an $80 rat. And Matthew, and that's just it. That's just it. I think all these figure obscuras, for the most part, are awesome. And again, remember, there's also always going to be a retail exclusive. So just kind of look at it and ask yourself the question, like, do you think they're going to come out with a better painted version? Because if you think so, just wait and get that. I didn't think with Frankenstein's creature that there was going to be a better painted one, and I stand by that. The Christmas, I don't think that one. I don't want to talk about the Jacob Marley because that one really pisses me off. The Jacob Marley actually really pisses me off because then it makes you, well, I should probably buy the other Ghost of Christmas Past so they match. But anyway. Yeah, these things have always been bangers since the Headless even before that, but the Headless Horseman, I am with you. That is what I think really, I think that is, and again, in the Four Horsemen community, yes, everyone knew, but that was the one that I think that set them off. When I go back and I look at the other ones, they're great. That Headless Horseman one though, you're right. Like that's what just that shot these up to where everyone's like, what's the next figure obscura? You know, Russell, it does look like the Mike Valley elephant. If you're a skateboarder, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, there's Johnny Reno. I don't think I saw it. Were you here earlier? Maybe you're just joining us. Anyway, that's it. Woo. We're almost to the topic, but we got a little bit of G.I. Joe news to talk about. And I've kind of mixed some of them. I decided to just kind of consolidate anything that is G.I. Joe related or adjacent to put it in the G.I. Joe. So rather than put like Super 7, if it's G.I. Joe or Haya, you know, in their own section, I figured I'd just put it all with the G.I. Joe stuff, since it is basically what I've become more known for than anything. So here is our G.I. Joe. And we'll start off with the Gridiron, the Desert Hound. Now, I have had talks with some people, and I have my feelings on Gridiron. I think they do a really good job. I think after a while, there will be some backlash against them. And not letting everyone know like what color schemes they're coming out with. They really should have, in my personal opinion, been like, hey, here's what we have coming. We have the Green Hound, we have the Desert Hound, we have the Snow Hound, and we have the Night Hound. That probably would have made more sense, because you're going to have people that bought the first one not knowing they were going to come out with a night one or the snow one or this desert one, right? And I'm not even talking about the price, but when you start looking at stuff, this is the type of stuff that will cause a backlash against you. And that's just because of the price. Now, $200 is a very steep price when you know the add-ons that you're going to get when you look at that Arctic one to get the add-ons fully loaded. That was over the price of any of the HasLabs that the G.I. Joe has done. People have the money, I understand that, but eventually you start to get I really do think that you start to get a backlash, right? With that said, I think this Desert Hound actually looks better. I really like the Arctic Hound. I think this Desert one looks really good. And I think a lot of it has to do with, I know that I'm getting an All Striker, and I could also get that Fans Hobby one. So anyway, here are some customized figures, probably done all by Johnny Reno. Johnny, did you do these figures? That's my guess that you probably did. If you painted them, considering you did just show a tan grunt. But again, I think this looks really good here. There is no, Johnny did not. Oh, look at Tony. Tony, did you do it? And you're snapping at him. Oh, look. Oh, Johnny's saying I did some of them. So anyway, we gotta look at the tires here. And I did not compare this to the other hounds. I know it's different than the Arctic Hound. I definitely know that it's different than the Arctic Hound. So I don't know how much different this is than the other ones, but I think this one actually looks really good. But $200, and like I said, I do think that you're going to end up with an issue where you start getting people that are going, I like this one more. Why didn't you show us all the colors you were going to do? Because if someone's going to spend, $200 on something, thinking this is the one, and then find out that you dropped other colors, some people will just have the money and they'll buy another one. Other people will be like, you know what? Fuck this. I can't keep up with this, and they'll get completely out of it. So, but all in all, I do think this looks really good. All right. And I like the fact that they worked on making sure they had desert looking figures, but remember, you're going to have to customize them to really get desert looking figures, because all we really have is Dusty and Desert Snake Eyes, which I know everyone hates, but I don't know why, because actually I think Desert Snake Eyes actually looks really good. Yeah, are the tires different on this one, Tony, Johnny? Yeah, you guys would know. But I do think the tires look really good on this. I'm with you 100% on that. Beckley jumping in here saying, thank you. That's why I'm scared to buy Gridiron. I'm not mad, but I'm scared as soon as I get something, it will come out next week and be better color. See? So it sounds like what I'm saying, there's actual people. And again, if you were talking, let's say this was $50, you're probably not even caring, right? Because you're like, well, $50, I'll buy another one. I'll buy all the colors. And Johnny says, Mark actually did say that all the colors are coming when the Jungle Hound, but you don't know what they are. And we also know a lot of that stuff goes back into the vault. So if you miss it at a time, and that's where people get scared. Where if he shows off all the colors and they go, hey, if you want this, if you can only buy one, here's all the colors. Because what if you're waiting to see the other colors, Johnny, right? You're waiting to see the other colors. You get to the last one and you're like, I like the green one best. Oh, guess what? It's now in the vault. He's not producing it anymore. But now you're going to be a little pissed off, right? That's all that I'm saying. Action Figure Autorium says, is there a hovercraft version? Flying cars are all the rage. I don't think Mark's going to be doing anything like that. But Johnny and Tony would know better than anyone. Frank Domagna says, love the desert wheels, the best. Yeah. So again, nice stuff, no doubt about it. And Delta, again, I think these look great. I mean, I'm not arguing about any of that. I think you guys know that. Is there a pink? I think it's safe to say there's probably not going to be a pink one, but you never know, right? You never know. And Johnny says the vault is rotating, nothing gets discontinued, and I understand that, but again, you have people have only so much disposable income at times. I mean, I know it seems like some people don't. But if people are going to put all their money into classified, or they're going to go all in, and they're going to only use some money for side products, this is where you, again, just my personal opinion. When you go buy, Chrysler doesn't show you, hey, this is the red version of the Charger. And you're like, whoa, you're going to make a different color. There's going to be different colors, but we're not going to tell you what they are. And that's all that I'm saying. That's all that I'm saying. And again, I know that bothers some people. But you have to be open and honest about things. And again, that's just my opinion. And you've already heard one person in here say, like, that's one of my biggest fears about going in on it. So, but then we have a Fans Hobby, and they showed off their Not Fang. And I don't have the Not Skyhawk, but it looks really good. And it's not the All Striker. Theirs is just a regular old dune buggy, which I think actually looks really good. But the Skyhawk looks awesome. I think this Fang looks good. I like the fact that they actually, if you want, you can put an actual a canopy over it because it makes sense. But I'm sure they did enough to make this different where they won't get another cease and desist like they did about the Skyhawk. Because, that's that becomes a problem. But as you can see, this is clearly a Fang, and they're just kind of showing you off like, oh, hey, if you don't put everything on, this is kind of how it looks. Yeah. So you can put the canopy on, but you can also take it off to make it look like a Fang. Personally, I think it should have a canopy. That's something that Classified should do. They should update their Fangs when they eventually come out with them. Because let's be honest, they're going to come out with a Fang. There's no doubt about it. All right. Now, a little bit of high G.I. Joe news. Let's say hi to it's Jay Gonzo jumping in here. All right. I fully understand when you work for a corporation or for any company, when you create something, you do not own it. I have been one of those people that I remember going when Bret Hart thought, I wrestled those matches, I should own that footage for my wrestling. No, you don't own it. You wrestled for a company. They paid you an amount of money. So, but if I was Lenny, just to know that I designed these figures, and again, I know they're designed after figures that were already made, but they have their own look. Haya doesn't even change anything other than they make the face sculpt looks really bad. Now, this is one of the better face sculpts, but it even has the yellow tip on the rocket here. The rocket launcher, the bazooka, is the exact same. You even have the issue with the 14 where the sculpt gets broken because, well, it's a diaphragm cut and not an ab crunch. Now, 4-inch figures are a little bit different because that's how they are. I think this is a better looking of most of their figures, but it still looks like trash. Oh, you know what? I saw Kenzo and I forgot to say hi. So I want to say hi to Kenzo really quick. It does kind of look like Tom Selleck. About as much as it looks like Bazooka. The Fang is based on a gyrocopter, which is an open canopy vehicle. Yeah, again, it just doesn't make sense for it. Come on. Don't try and defend the Fang now, all right? We've all had our say in the Fang. We've all had our say in the Fang and how Cobra doesn't care about the safety of their employees. Stanley, you know what? That I will give you. I think that is more than I think that more than Tom Selleck, Freddie Mercury. Matthew, you're too late. You're behind Stanley now. All right. But if you like the higher figures, then I think you're going to like this. Again, this is one of the better head sculpts of the actual faces. When it's a mass figure, I think it looks good. But man, their facial features, they just did not do a good job. Everything is the exact same as the classified version. So I know there have been a couple that they've changed, like the Cobra Trooper and the Viper are a little different, but the majority are just shrunk down to fit. All right. So there he is. There's everything that he comes with, 4.3. So these are fairly big figures, just when it comes to the 1/18 scale. They're kind of going to tower over an O-ring and still be bigger than the modern 4-inch figures. So, but we got to talk about the Cobra Claw. And it was brought up earlier. And it was brought up on Circle of Jerks, which we do on Tuesday. Myself, Baldy, Terry was on with Terry, and then Tony had filled in for Spec. This was last week. You know, we talked about this, and I'm sorry to anyone that wasn't able to get it. And again, there was already someone in here that said they weren't able to get it. I don't know how you were not able to. And also, I don't know why I didn't use a contraction there. But this was available for about 9 hours. Like I said, I got one on the app. And then I got 2 of them using the website on my phone. Before you ask me why I needed to buy 3, I bought 3 because I fucking wanted to buy 3. And Woody bought 10, I think. Why did Woody buy 10? Because Woody wanted fucking 10. And if someone bought 19, then they bought fucking 19 because they want. I'm so sick and tired of hearing people fucking bitch because people bought too many things. This thing was available for roughly 9 hours at least. It was still available when we got done with our show. It wasn't until after the show that it was sold out. There is no reason why anyone that wanted this didn't have a chance to fucking get it. All right? Unless if you were working a 24 fucking hour shift where they fucking slave drive you, you could have gotten this. I feel like the majority of the people that bitched about this, that have bitched about the snake, stuff like that, are people that didn't have the money or don't want to pay it. And I'm not saying everyone, because I do know that some people did have that spinning issue. Tony said he did. We told him, update your fucking app. He updated his app and all of a sudden he could use it. But Tony was smart enough to figure out another way to go ahead and fucking get it. Now, I'm not saying everyone, but I just can't imagine that for 9 hours, where I bought it on two different occasions, I had no problem. Okay. Hurricane Live says, I got 10. I wanted 2 flying Vs. And you know what? If it's something to the point where it's an exclusive to where there's not that many being made, then I get it. When it came to Nemesis Immortal and The once a man Cobra Commander. Don't give a limit of 5 because you know you have a limit. Give it a limit of 1 or 2. But something like this is an army builder, so they're going to allow you to buy more. The argument of Hasbro obviously doesn't want money, or else they would sell fucking more, is absolute bullshit, because we all get the same fucking thing where people go, I'm just going to wait till it goes to Ollie's. I'm going to wait till it's on clearance. Now, I'm not saying not to do that, but I am saying that when you do stuff like that, when you play clearance chicken, and we were told at the end of last year, they are cutting down production on stuff because they overproduce stuff. No one wanted to believe it. So when you miss out on something like this, it's on you. Here's another reason why I think it's bullshit that people don't want to buy stuff. Guess what? You're not getting charged for it. All the people that whine and cry about having to wait on shit, or, oh, they're taking my fucking money and then they're not going to give it to me for 6 months. Or I heard someone whining and crying, I wait 6 months and this is killing it. I don't want to do this anymore. Well, fuck you. Then get off the goddamn fucking hobby. You collect G.I. Joe. You're not a fucking toy collector. I don't give a shit about you. I'm sick and tired of your whining and crying. Man, now I'm in a pissed off mood. I didn't expect to be pissed off about this. But now all the shit is going through my mind of how people whine and cry about it. People complain about the Vamp. Complain about the Vamp. You know that Vamp was available right up to the point when they started shipping them. Anyone could have ordered it. The Trouble Bubble, the exact same. It was actually available after they started getting in hand. And then once they sold out. No, I'm not on steroids. I'm not. But all the stuff started going through my head. All the stuff started going through my head of the shit that I've read over the past couple months, but obviously just recently, right? But the fact of the matter is, all these people want to wait on shit, and that is perfectly fine. I do not believe. I believe that, hey, if these things don't get bought and they go to clearance, eventually the line will die. I don't believe it is our job to make sure this line continues, right? Like I don't think it's our job to buy everything just so it continues. Like if we don't want it, then you don't fucking buy it. But if you wanted this thing, don't try and wait till it's on clearance. If you wanted Snake Eyes or Leatherneck or whoever it is, you don't wait. You buy what you want. And if you see something, you're like, hey, you know what? I really like that, but I don't collect it. I don't need it. If I see it on clearance, I'll pick it up. Awesome. But if you want something, grab it when you need it. Also, this is not a male head. Can I just say that? This is the female head. I don't know why people are thinking that it's something it's not. It is not. We've already seen them done. So what you have here is a trooper-like head, which I'm all for. I like the fact that they gave female figures. We've already seen people whine and cry. As a matter of fact, that is the reason why we have the topic tomorrow. Right? That is the reason why we have the topic tomorrow of Girls Icky, because we've seen these people whine and cry that they're giving us female Cobra Troopers. Are you fucking kidding me? I don't need. I listen to people that say I need more female figures. I don't need more female figures. Right? I don't need more female figures. What I need are good figures, and if the good figures are females, then awesome. If the good figures are males, awesome. If the good figures are black, awesome. If they're white, awesome. I don't really give a shit. I don't need anything crammed down my throat. But when people think that something is being crammed down your throat because they were like, well, let's see here. We're going to make this $55. We have the buck of a female figure. We already have a bunch of male Cobra Troopers. And yes, they do have a bunch of female Cobra Troopers also now. They're like, let's give this, because probably it's a little bit less plastic, probably costs a little bit less to produce. And when you add it all up, you're like, all right, we can save a couple bucks here. That's how corporations work. It's kind of crazy. Gareth Widger, Gareth Widger jumping here saying I'm late. Hello, the Grand Canyon. Hello from the Grand Canyon, by the way. Awesome. I don't think we've ever been in the Grand Canyon. I've been to the Grand Canyon before, many years ago. And Cobra Commander, see, I'm not. See, this is the type of shit. Like this is the type of shit. Like this is what people fucking want to say. And the problem with this is people will run with it and people will think that it is. All right. This is the same fucking problem that I had, I think, last week when I talked about when people run with shit because one person says it and then you have people going, oh, hey, you know what? People reporting. So, but the fact of the matter is, this is just a female buck changed around a little bit, given to the claw. And the fact the claw never had a figure, so it doesn't really matter. Also, if you try and stick a male head on one of these, you'll realize that they don't fit. They're sized way differently. Just like if you try and put a Steel Brigade male Valaverse head on the female, you'll see how it does not fit. But basically, I put this in here because of all the people that were whining and crying saying they couldn't get it. Okay, well, it's not the first time I've heard it. That's the whole thing, Ed. It's not the first time I've heard it. Okay? So I don't know. Like, I mean, they're joking or not. It's not the first time I fucking heard it. Todd C, how you doing? Great. You're late. That's awesome. I'm just glad people still show up. But if you didn't get this, I don't. If you weren't able to order this, I don't know what to say. I don't know how you could not have been able to order it. And you know what? Maybe the next exclusive, I'll be the one that can't order it, and I'll be the one bitching about it. You know, but I've seen the fucking lies. I've seen people say I even contacted Hasbro about, like, bullshit. You know, what do you mean you contacted fucking Hasbro? They don't give a shit. They don't fucking lie to you. It was up there for 9 fucking hours, and then it was available the following day. Because you know what? People will buy 20, and when it doesn't sell out in an hour, they'll cancel a bunch of them because they're like, shit, you know what? This is not going to be worth as much as I thought it was. Because there are people that scalp. But when it's still up for 8+ hours, then you have time to get it. But here you go. I like this. Here we can see the wings collapse a little bit. So it can take up a little less space. But the cool thing about this, I think it's going to be light enough that we can hang it from a ceiling and not have to worry about it falling. And yes, it does fit the male bucks too. And just so anyone wonders, the Cobra outhouse, the bunker there, it is there. I don't know why it's not on the website. I'm wondering if that's going to be one of those hard to come by things. I think you can get it for like $200 on AliExpress right now. It's a crazy price on AliExpress. Here's everything that you get. You get the Uzi, the pistol, and then the automatic shotgun that came with the female gunner for the hiss. And I love that automatic shotgun. I think it is one of the best guns that they made. You also have the fire effects. Now, I don't like the fact that they decided to use that for... they try to make it look like they can be blast effects for the guns. It is clearly for the exhaust. You get your missiles, multiple heads, so you can mix and match. Also, if you have the Ferret Scout, you have the Valkyries, you have a multitude of different heads. different helmets that you can just mix and match, and you can create your own army of, female Cobra troopers. Whiskey Fox Strangle says, I had issues with the order going through, and I kept trying to reorder and ended with 8 claws. Had caught Hasbro to cancel 3 of the 4 orders. So then my question is, because when I ordered it too, it didn't send me right away the confirmation like it normally does, but it went through. So I think maybe that's where some people had an issue, because if you said you ordered it that many times, wondering if because before when you ordered it, you could go right to your orders and you could see it. This did take a little bit of time for it to populate. So I could see that as being a problem, but it still doesn't mean that that would still mean that people got a whole bunch of them. But anyway, here's everything that she comes with. There's the claw. I like the fact that they've updated it with the black accents. I think it would have really sucked and been really boring and plain if it was just all white. Richard Sampson says, Jedro Classified is the best line out there that's not too expensive. I would agree with that. I think it is the hottest adult toy line going. I don't think it is the biggest, but I do think that it is the hottest one going. So, there is the box. We get to see the Rattler. Some people have speculated that we are going to get a headquarters as a HasLab, as they have used it a few times in the background. They have thrown in a lot of Easter eggs that we didn't think that we were going to get. I have heard nothing about a headquarters as a HasLab. I feel like it might be too big to do. Because even if you took the size of, let's say, Cat Slayer, that would be too small for an actual headquarters. Because you have to put vehicles in it and stuff. Now, obviously, you don't put the Thunder Tank in the Cat Slayer, but I think you would. There's a lot more figures for G.I. Joe than for Thundercats, so I guess we will see. I would love a Dodge Viper. All right. That is my favorite car of all time, so I would buy that in a heartbeat. So anyway, and there's the back of it showing you everything that we comes with. Whew. And that's it. That's it in my slides. 3 hours, and maybe we can talk about the topic for a bit. But before we do, I'm going to take a quick breather, just kind of sit back and not talk. But you need to hear where you need to be watching some YouTube tomorrow.
Idiots! Incompetent buffoons! What is it now, Commander? Consummate morons, incapable of coherent thought! Are you watching that show again? Yes. Why didn't you just watch Pop Blender and Matthew's discussions, news, reviews before the show came out? Whether you agree or disagree, the perspectives provide enough context to know if the show or movie is worth your time or not. Yes, I know. I will not miss another Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central on Pop Blender's channel. Be more than once a man by watching Pop Blender and Matthew talk about pop culture, news, discussions, and reviews on Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. And now you know. Televiper, be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe so we do not miss another episode. And hit that bell notification.
All right. I didn't see any news on the Mesco figure, Matthew. That's why I didn't put it in there. So I apologize. We'll maybe come back around to it next Monday. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow on Circle of Jerks at 6:30 p.m. where you guys can all tune in. And I don't know. I haven't seen the thumbnail yet because he always makes the fucking thumbnail while I'm doing my show. Anyway, so I want to talk about Scale Wars. Maybe you were able to figure out the thumbnail. Maybe you weren't. But I didn't want to do the same thing people did. I do not want to have I'm going to fight about the 3.75 compared to the 6-inch figures. That's not where I wanted to go. But I want to discuss the issues with scale amongst lines. And again, you can take it how you want it. It is an actual scale war, but you look at all the 1/18 scale figures. Look at all the O-ring figures, and they're 3.75, right? Now, as a kid, it wasn't really a big deal. Everything was 3.75. You never really looked at anything being too different. As you've gotten older, I like seeing something different. And I'm actually glad that we have Delta 17 in here. At least I thought I saw Steve a second ago. I know he was here. Well, Delta 17 made 2 figures of their 3.75, their O-ring, 4 inches, which I did not know when I first did a review on it. That was something that Ken forgot to tell me. And being the fact that I did not pay attention to absolutely everything and sit there and get to know everything was something I didn't know. But I like the fact that they decided, hey, not everyone is the exact same height. This is something that I kind of struggle with because it's like, I know for a fact we're not all the same height. Now, I know because I always have to look up at people. And then you look at Super 7, and one of the things that they did when it came to the Fatal Fluffy and the Ramar, am I saying his name right? Is that they created a much bigger figure to complement it. And that was a smart thing to do. It makes complete sense. But seeing that lines are always the same height, I guess that's better than always being out of scale. I go look at Valaverse, and now they finally do have a bigger buck. Now, let me explain something to you. The last interaction with Valaverse, or Bobby Vala, was on a Saturday when I made a quick little joke about his Sergeant Slaughter being tiny. And I said all their figures are the same height. And on a Saturday, this was after he criticized Payne's Toy Samples on his. Again, I don't know why an owner of a company is fucking scrolling Instagram to attack other people. This was the last and again, not an interaction that I had with him. He had with me. Saying, well, what's wrong with everyone being the same height? Well, everyone's not the fucking same height. That's why it's one of those things. I hate seeing all the same fucking figures the exact same height. It's stupid. Now they've decided they've added an actual a buck that's a little bit taller, which is good. Again, Roman, please stop. Go lay down. Go lay down. Lay down. No, not right now. He's cute, but not that cute for right now. So here he's saying, I was hoping Atlas was going to be a big boy. Yeah, he's barely bigger. All right. And again, we're all not tall. We're not all the exact same height. So you have this scale where he fits with the Valaverse, let's say they fit with the majority of the G.I. Joes and stuff. But then you even look at the classified. And we'll just take this guy. He towers over other classified figures. Him, Gung Ho. All right. He towers over them. Like here's the original Beachhead. You can see just how much bigger he is. Now he should be bigger, but not that much bigger, right? This is an issue amongst the exact. This is an issue inside someone's toy line, and then you look at Serpentor, and Serpentor is closer to a 7-inch. You could take Serpentor and pretty much stand him up with any McFarlane figure, and he might be just a little bit shorter. Which I understand Serpentor is supposed to be bigger, but not in the scale that he is. And he's an awesome figure. Now, when I look at Road Pig, I don't have a problem with that because they kind of made him like cartoonish, right? And Nemesis Immortal, have no problem. He's really, really big. The bullet belt, that's the Gridiron bullet belt. It comes with all the stuff that goes on top of their the roll bars, the cages for all the vamps and stingers they did. That's the bullet belt that it comes with. Now, Tunnel Rat. Tunnel Rat is supposed to be shorter, so I have absolutely no problem with Tunnel Rat being short. But you're absolutely right. The problem is that Roadblock and Gung Ho make everyone look small. The reason why people think that Leatherneck is so small is because he's a Marine. People want to put him with Gung Ho, the other Marine, and Gung Ho will tower over him to the point where you better move. You can't keep them close to each other because, well, they don't look to be the same height. Leatherneck is pretty much built on the, I believe Leatherneck is built on the Airborne buck, and no one complains about Airborne being too short. Everyone just assumes that Leatherneck is supposed to be big, and he actually said he's not that big. But it's one of those weird things that we have these scale wars amongst the same line. I have Marvel Legends. A matter of fact, the Thor that this head was on is way out of scale. It's supposed to be Thor from the fourth Avengers movie, Endgame, before they knew he was going to be fat. And if I put him next to, and I know Thor is supposed to be bigger, but if I put him next to Iron Man or Captain America, he absolutely towers over them. And he's very lanky. I also have a Bucky Barnes that's the exact same way. And so you have these scale wars amongst their own companies, right? There should be some figures that are a little bit bigger, but not out of scale. The Mezco, I can't speak on all the Mezco, but Roadblock here towers over every classified other than, he might be the same height as Road Pig, to be honest. But him and Gung Ho, they tower over everyone but Serpentor and Nemesis Immortal. A matter of fact, his cousin, Heavy Duty, is actually a new buck that's the same height. Then I look at Mezco, and they do a Roadblock, and he's actually shorter than Snake Eyes. Like just a bit. He should be taller. And this is one of those things where I'm looking at these scales, and I'm like, there's a huge scale issue. And again, I don't want to talk about, I like 1/18 scale, and it's God scale. Whatever. I don't give a shit. You can like whatever you like. But when you can't fit something within its own line, But let's talk about one of the worst ones. And amongst themselves, in his own line, is Uncle Todd. If Tony is still here, he can kind of tell you that he had to shorten Wonder Woman because she was taller than Superman and Batman. So when they wanted to do that, it didn't fit. Just Jeff says the Mesco Damian Wayne and any other Mesco Batman, Jesus Christ. All right. See, I'm not sure, but I'm going to take your word for it because I'm assuming you probably have it. All right. Here's Tony. I had to fix all these shits. ICT Vinny says Power Girl towers over my soups. He is the worst one. And it's like, first off, it would be nice if you did 1/12 scale. You're doing 1/12 scale. They should all be, there should be a unified across the board, right? 6 inches. That is your standard buck. Now, McFarlane, who went with 7-inch, and again, he's not the only one, right? We have Mattel. They do 7-inch figures for the Motu, and even some of these Motu figures, not the Origins figures, but some of the Masterverse figures, their scale is completely different. Some of them are taller. The 30th anniversary Skeletor and He-Man, those are bigger bucks, like fairly bigger too. They just don't work together. But we get to McFarlane, that he can't get his own scale right, and not even close in some of them. And the fact that Power Girl towers over, we've seen Robins that are as tall as Batman. We've seen Nightwing, which is taller than some of the Batmans. It makes no sense whatsoever. And these are the scale wars that I'm talking about. These are the things that people fight with, right? And Matthew says Leatherneck in the canon is 6'2", taller than most Joes. The 40th made a really tall Leatherneck, yes. In the cartoon, the comic, he's taller than most Joes. Again, it wouldn't be that noticeable, or I don't think people would say that much if when you didn't stand him next to the other Marine. I know there might be other Marines, but the other most known Marine, which is Gung Ho, that he's that much shorter than him. All right. And again, it's supposed to be at their own scale. The problem is, it's not even that he's shorter. He looks tiny. And he does. He absolutely looks tiny. The same way that, you feel that Leatherneck, or not Leatherneck, Beachhead does here. I mean, when I showed him, you could see just how much bigger they are. And it's just one of those things where, yeah, Gung Ho and see, I think Sergeant Slaughter is actually a little bit shorter than the two of them, because Gung Ho and Roadblock are the exact same height. But for some odd reason, I think Sergeant Slaughter is a bit shorter. Now with the classified, in all honesty, you can kind of fudge them in. You really can. You can kind of fudge them in. Really, Leatherneck is the one that sticks out because you want them like kind of standing back to back against Gung Ho, and you just cannot do it. You just can't do it. Yeah, they made him in honor of you. It really is Larry Neck. Well, again, Tunnel Red is actually the really short one, and he is shorter than the other ones. Like if you stand him up, he is shorter than the other ones, which I like. And I always perceived him to be shorter. But going back to McFarlane, like that's the biggest one. And you have these wars in scale because people want to take they want to stand them on their shelves. They want to do photography with them, and they don't work. And when you're talking about your own scale, I couldn't imagine riding a skateboard and being like, oh, I want these bone Swiss bearings. And then you find out that, well, these bone Swiss bearings, you need to have the actual bone wheels, the bones wheels. They won't fit in Spitfire wheels because they're too big. That wouldn't make any sense. There should be like a uniform, like, all right, this is 6 inch line. This is how much this is how tall a figure would need to be 6 inches tall. 6 feet tall. Now you can make them a little bit shorter, make them a little bit bigger. I actually enjoy that because you want that representation. And it's just one of those, there's such this war within the line. I'm not even talking about people arguing about the different sizes of different lines. Now, I don't know if there's a difference, if there's any of the 4-inch guys here, the 1/18th. Is there a difference between the 4-inch figures? Now, we saw Haya, theirs are usually 4.3. They're taller than most modern 4-inch, but I don't know if Eagle Force are maybe a little bit taller. I like having different sizes, but for the most part, some of these companies, McFarlane, they can't figure out. And again, you go back to classified. Everyone wanted to put Bazooka with Alpine. Bazooka, you can't put Bazooka with Alpine. It doesn't work. Because Bazooka is a big boy. He is shorter than Gung Ho because he uses a different torso. And his boots are a little bit different, but he's way bigger than Alpine. So they just don't look right when they're next to each other. Pop says, does it really matter? Is there a guide on how tall and the weight of a guys and gals? No one is talking about scale of the chicks, just the dudes. What if Scarlett was a tall, badass bitch? The problem, again, I like having different sizes. But when you have Roadblock, all right, and here you have Beachhead. Now, you can tell there's a huge difference there. Again, not everyone is the same height. I'll grab them. Since this is the one that everyone has complained about. Let me take Roman off. There he is. Pop the head off him. So this is your biggest standard figure. All right. They don't work together. They have to be forced apart from each other, Pop. That is the biggest difference. They don't scale properly together. All right. That is a huge difference. And yes, as someone who's as short as I am, I know that there's a difference. All right. But the look of them, it's not just the height, it's the look of them when they're together. And especially with Gung Ho. That's the biggest issue. But then when you go ahead and you look at McFarlane, they're the biggest culprits of them all. The figures do not always look good together. Now, the issue is 6-inch scale and true 1/12 scale are not the same. And that is perfectly fine. And again, I can understand, let's say a Valiverse, if it doesn't fit with the classified. Now, I know he wanted it to, so that's why they're close, and same with like Operation Monster Force. But I'm talking within the same scale. So if someone, like McFarlane says, hey, I'm doing 7-inch, whatever. But the problem truly does become, the issue truly does become when McFarlane stuff doesn't even scale with each other. And because he's doing Batman figures, right? We know Dick Grayson is not as tall as Bruce Wayne. Yet here comes this Nightwing that's taller than the Batman. Here comes a Damian Wayne who's a child, and he's almost as tall as Batman. Like, it makes no sense. Papa Linder says, to me, it's like having a person that is 5'5" and a person who is 6'6". It's all relative. You're absolutely correct. But when you look at them, you can see that they don't work together. I'm just saying. And again, like, it doesn't bother everyone. There are people that have no problem putting a O-ring G.I. Joe in a collection with a He-Man that's 5.5. Where the scale would be completely off. And then let's see. Matthew Matt says 3-star draw. 3-star draw. You sure? You sure of that? Are you sure that it makes you feel better? They don't photograph well together. I guess I shouldn't have read that because they're having a conversation. Okay, so has anyone seen the size of Shaq? It looks like a normal 5'7" dude standing next to 7'2" giant. Okay, but most people aren't 7'2", especially not in the military. All right, yeah, we have 6'10" Yojo Daddy here, right? He's probably, again, if it doesn't bother you, it doesn't bother you. But I do think there should be some sort of standard. And again, I don't want a standard like everyone's going to be the exact same height. I want Roadblock and Gung Ho to be bigger. All right. I don't want Leatherneck looking like a little child next to him. And then when you take, and again, what it is, it's not that one looks taller than the other. One looks like it's a different scaled figure altogether. Like, so, and again, some people don't give a shit. I just think it's one of those things where I think that things could be done a little better. And again, they decided to make a completely new buck with heavy duty. And heavy duty is the same height, and his legs are bent, so he's the same height as Roadblock and Gung Ho. Which means when you try and scale him with some of the other figures, he's going to look a bit shorter. Now, he's not as thick. All right? He doesn't seem to come off as thick, so it doesn't scale wrong. And again, I love the Gung Ho. I love the Roadblock figures. And again, most people would say, why would someone 5'4" on a good day be complaining? Because you know what it's like to be standing next to someone that's much taller. You're damn right I do. I've done it my whole entire life, right? I've dealt with it my entire life. There's no doubt about that. But it's just one of those things where these companies, and again, if they don't scale with another company, that is perfectly fine. But you heard Jeff say the same thing about this with Mezco. Like, some of the figures are just, they're out of proportion to each other. Maybe proportion is the better way to say it. Because there's more to proportion than just height. All right? And when someone brings up Shaq, he's an anomaly. Right? You have Serpentor, who's bigger than Roadblock. We have 3 different Roadblocks that are all that big. Oh, and then you have the Mezco one. Again, now I'm switching, jumping in 2 different companies here, and he's small. And I'll tell you what, that Roadblock is better than all the Roadblocks. That Mezco Roadblock is 10 times better than any of the ones that Hasbro's made. He's just a little too small. Viper Scout says, I got rid of most of my 4-inch Joes because they didn't scale with my original 3 point. All right. And so, and this is where I become a complete hypocrite. I have absolutely no problem putting a modern 4-inch figure in my display with my O-ring 3.75 figures. It doesn't bother me. But if you think that I'm going to put a 7-inch figure with any of the 6-inch figures, no way in hell is happening. Okay, Menhoza saying, are you saying they don't scale together like Black Series and Marvel Legends? Okay, I think that it would be nice if they said, hey, 1/6, this is what a 6-foot figure would be. This is how. But I'm saying more a line itself, classified line. The fact that Gung Ho and Roadblock are so much taller than the rest of the figures, other than Serpentor and Nemesis Immortal. The fact that some of the Marvel Legends figures don't scale well. And again, it's also proportionate wise too. And yeah, every now and then you might have a figure that is supposed to tower over someone. But sometimes you can look at the bulkiness and you can see that they're all made the same and they don't fill out the same. One of the things that I absolutely loved in Deadpool and Wolverine was Deadpool going through looking for Wolverine and you're coming over all the iterations of Wolverine. We got Age of Apocalypse, right? We got the Superman one. I just can't think of his name. Henry Cavill. Well, you're getting all these different Wolverine. You get to the one where he's supposed to be the right size of 5'4". The problem is when you see him jump down, he doesn't scale properly. He doesn't look like an actual size of a 5'4" human being. All right? You've met me. If I jump down to someone, we'll use Darren. Yeah, I look shorter, but I don't look like I'm like that. I'm completely shrunken and tiny. He's actually like, there were certain things in books, Radnom, that we were like the exact same. Like all our stats were the exact same. Except he had a big beard and I can't grow facial hair other than this. So no, again, it would be nice if they were all equal. Like if they all agreed on like what the 1/12 would be. It'll never happen. I think we all know that. But I think within classified, they should be like, all right, here we go. This is what our 6-foot figure, this is what a 6-foot person would be. We work from there. Mezco can do the same thing. Valaverse can do the same thing. Again, it would be nice if Black Series scale properly, but they're not. They're smaller. So I can't really be mad that Black Series is too small, doesn't scale well with Classified and Marvel Legends. You think that they would have, but as long as Black Series is scaling well with Black Series, that's all that matters. But when I look at, again, Mezco, and I look at the Roadblock, and I look at Destro, I also think Destro should be taller. They're not. The Destro I can kind of get over. Roadblock should just be, he's just a little bit bigger and bulkier. So, just my own personal opinion. Snowwolf says they would have to have more bucks and parts for arms and legs to have more diversity of heights. Yes. But you look at someone like Valaverse, who he had $4.5 bucks, $3.5 bucks for 3 years. They were all the exact same height. Why wouldn't you make one a little bit taller, one a little bit shorter, so you can mix and match? That's what Hasbro does. That's what the G.I. Joe Classified line does. That's why some of the figures seem shorter. That's why Bazooka isn't as big as the other ones, because when they chopped off the legs, first off, the boots don't seem to fit. There's an issue with the gap in the legs on Bazooka. Go look at it. Every single Bazooka, those legs do not look like they fit properly on the boots. That was always a gripe of mine. I can't believe I actually forgot it when I did my ratings video. So it's just, again, it's just one of those things that I saw. I know people had complained about McFarlane is the big one. And I know I've talked to Tony numerous times where he's talking about how, man, I had to chop this off. I've seen, again, Nightwing that's taller than the McFarlane Batmans, and you're going, no. Literally in the comic book, in Nightfall, or actually Night Quest, I think it is, after Dick Grayson takes over the Cape and Cowl, Commissioner Gordon makes a comment to him about being shorter than being shorter now. And he said, does it really matter? And he said, it did with the last guy that wore it. Okay. And when you look at Nightwing, when you look at Dick Grayson as Batman, there is a lot that was different. He was shorter. He was thinner. He was sleeker, right? And the reason why that stood out was because Batman picked Azrael. Azrael fit what Bruce Wayne was size-wise. But obviously he went crazy and changed everything. So when Bruce finally took the cowl back and Dick took it from him, he was smaller. And it was one of the things that Commissioner Gordon pointed out. And I've always thought about that. And like just Jeff is saying, Nightwing is about 6 foot tall. Bruce Wayne is like 6'5". And believe me, 6 foot, that's a pretty massive man in my eyes. All right. Word just says, next you guys are going to be saying Clutch and Breaker are the same figure. So just something that I threw out there. Again, it's not going to change anything. It's not like I'm going to dislike Classified. It's not like I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm done having these roadblocks and gung-hos. They don't fit. But it does suck that I can't really put on my shelf. Again, it also doesn't help. If you have gung-ho standing straight up, let's say gung-ho is kind of standing straight up, and you have Leatherneck, because now he has smaller feet, so you kind of have to pose him a little bit different. He's crouched a little bit. Oh, it looks way different. It doesn't work. But that's about it. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I really need to work on making sure I get through my toy news done by like 11:30 so I can wrap this up a little after 12. Because some of us have to work in the morning. And some of us do a show at 6:30. Some of us will not be on a show on Wednesday. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Please tune in tomorrow at 6:30 where we're going to be doing Circle of Jerks. Myself, Baldy, Speck, and Terry, the Island Viper. And then once we're done at 9 o'clock or 9:05, something like that, we have my moderator, Action Figs, and Travis, not fucking Moody, doing a show together. And then at 10, while they're still doing their show, Pop Blender and Matthew Matson said, hey, you know what? Let's do this. I don't know why my moderators had to cross streams like Ghostbusters told them not to. I was very adamant when we started doing this Tuesday show. I said, I will not do a show that runs across when my moderator's doing it. That was like the only agreement that I had to have. So anyway, I think that's enough. I think I've talked way too much. My neck is starting to hurt. I need to go lay down. My dog looks very comfortable. I want to be comfortable in bed. So anyway, thank you guys all for tuning in. Like I said, you can catch me tomorrow. Thursday, I will have Yojo Jerk on at 10 p.m. for Thursday with a friend, which will probably go to 1 o'clock in the morning. I will regret it on Friday morning when I wake up and I have like 3 hours of sleep. But I'll say to myself, hey, I don't have to do anything on Friday, which Same Time Toys will then probably send me a message saying, hey, do you want to come on? And I'll be like, sure, why the fuck not? Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you all. Have a wonderful night.
But the story